Welcome to Launceston Arena, a sun-drenched Launceston Arena for this absolute blockbuster in BUPA TSL. It's the Clarence Roos up against the Launceston Blues, and it promises to be an absolute humdinger. I'm Damien Gill. Bringing this one alongside me is Brent Costello and the ever-insightful Cam Brown.
Afternoon, Gilly. Yeah, you're right, sun-drenched. It is going to be a cracking game. Looking forward to it. Beautiful day in Hobart, and these two teams, it's going to provide a fascinating contest, Brownie, isn't it? Just to see where they're at against each other.
Yeah, even on the ladder positions too, Brent. Both teams coming into this game having won 2 games and lost one. Launceston in round 1 got a bit of a touch-up from North Launceston, and since then they've had big wins over North Hobart and Lauderdale on the road. Most recently had the bye last week, and the Roos, we were really impressed with them, weren't we, boys, last week? Probably had their opportunities to win the game almost against North Launceston, who also were a bit wasteful in front of goal. But before that, Clarence had a good win. We saw that one, boys, down at Lauderdale in round 1, where they were pretty impressive, and then had a solid win over North Hobart in round 2. So both teams get the opportunity, I guess, to solidify their position in the top 3 today with a win. Obviously, Glenorchy out in front with 4 wins at the moment. So they're the team to catch, and North Launceston, you'd think, would get the job done against North Hobart today. So from that point of view, they get an opportunity to get a game clear of their opposition.
A fascinating game in terms of the pecking order. We're still trying to work out of the top 3 or 4 teams where everyone sits, and we might be a little bit wiser for it by the end of today's game. Two really good outfits out there to duke it out. Clarence with some big ins, Breno.
Yeah, there is. The Bailey boys are back, which is huge for them. A few outs as well, though. We saw Brady Jones unfortunately injure himself last week in the clash against North Launceston. A couple of other outs as well. Speedy Standen still isn't back and isn't likely to be back for 2 to 3 weeks, Jeremy Webley said a few days ago at the press conference. So they've got some headaches still, the Roos, as far as injuries go. But I reckon in the back of their mind too, boys, it will be the final series from last year when Launceston made them exit it in straight sets. So I think a lot's changed since then as far as the Clarence lineup goes, but I don't think they would have forgotten that during the week.
Yeah, Launceston really announced themselves on the competition at the back end. They were a bit of a sleeper last season and came home strong with good wins over Glenorchy and then Clarence. And the Clarence one was the biggest of all, and they'll be looking to repeat their efforts today. And their team's changed a little bit since then, but a lot of the key cogs are still there, and they've only really value added to their lineup.
Absolutely. Mitch Thorpe's a big inclusion for them in 2018, isn't he, Brownie? Dylan Riley, of course, as well. You know Thorpe pretty well. How's he enjoying his time in Launceston? You spoke to him earlier today?
Yeah, I think he's really enjoying his time. I think more so just having not the pressures of coaching a team outright, trying to be a playing coach. It's probably a difficult thing to do these days, boys, at statewide league level. And just the way the game's played, perhaps tactically over the last 4 or 5 years, there's been some really significant advancements made. So you probably need to have some smart personnel on the bench these days if you are a playing coach. I think Mitchell would enjoy being freed up, and I think his form would indicate that he's enjoying that. I think he kicked a couple in round 1 against North Launceston, the losing side. He kicked a bag, I think 7 against North Hobart, Breno, and I think 3 last week against Lauderdale. So he's been in pretty good form. Probably the surprise is Sonny Whiting out of the team today, boys. He's been omitted. So, and coming off 2 games of back-to-back bags of 4. So interesting that he couldn't find his way into the team today.
Yeah, it is fascinating, Brownie, about his omission. Sammy Lonigan's still not out there too for the Blues, the coach. He was supposed to play a half in the Development League before this game. Joby Harper's still not back either for the Blues. So a couple of handy players there that aren't even in this team yet. So once they get those 2 back particularly, they'll be even stronger. And
they'll also get the Mariners, boys, and you know, probably in about 4 or 5 weeks' time, that'll be the boys that obviously don't represent the Allies squad, and hopefully we'll get a lot represented. They had another good win this morning, Damo, which was terrific for the under-18 Tassie boys. But so they're certainly going to get some great players back to strengthen their lineup, Launceston. But looking forward to them. We haven't seen them this year, and as you said too, Breno, there's a different look about him. But Riley is obviously a fantastic acquisition for them. He's played statewide league footy now for a number of teams, albeit South Launceston, and then across to Devonport. But he's a prolific ball winner and state representation and all those sorts of things. So he's a terrific pickup for them as well.
Looking forward to seeing Tony Liberatore Jr. today as well, Brownie.
Yeah, he's a cousin, played at Werribee last year, 2 boys, and has come down, I think, to move because he's a podiatrist, so that's why he's
so he's a cousin, is he?
He's a cousin,
Okay.
I believe, and has moved down for work. Was pretty good, I believe, in round 1 in that loss to North Launceston. So our first look at him today.
He's going to be your favourite, no question. It's just an automatic one for you, Brownie.
Well, look, that Liberatore family, it's synonymous with Bulldog supporters, and Werribee still out in the west, obviously. So, look, he'll get an opportunity today and probably roll up through the midfield. So looking forward to seeing how he goes about it. From a Clarence perspective, boys too, though, we really enjoyed watching them last week, and they were pretty honest, particularly with their effort. We thought they stuck to their task pretty well. Down back, particularly that defensive unit who were under siege at different times last week. So they'll get another opportunity today with some pretty strong forwards. We've mentioned Mitch Thorpe before, so you'd expect Bailey to go to him, boys. In terms of maybe the other matchups, I think if you were trying to look at Jake Cox is obviously one that Launceston would potentially put a bit of time into. I would have thought he's been in pretty good form, perhaps a little bit quieter last week, but he's still the leading goal kicker for the Roos with 7 goals, so he's obviously dangerous when he goes forward. So I would think maybe Casey Brown would be the player that would go with him, boys, from Launceston.
Who do we like in this one, boys? We've talked about how big a game it is. Who do you think will take the chocolates?
Yeah, look, I think Launceston will win, but certainly after watching Clarence last week, they'll be right in this game, that's for sure. They were fantastic against the Bombers, and I think it'll go right down to the wire, Brownie. Maybe the Blues will kick away in the last quarter, I reckon.
No, I would agree with that, their assessment of yours, Breno. I think Launceston maybe just with a little bit too much class. I expect Clarence to be right in this game, though, deep into the last quarter, and maybe Launceston will win this game by a couple of goals. I think Hamish Leader might have won the toss, did he, Domo, and is kicking to the right of screen.
Correct, and I'm with you boys. I'm going for the Blue Baggers. I just think that Brady Jones out is significant against a very deep Launceston midfield. I think that's going to be telling, and that leadership, you can't really call someone up from the twos to fill that void, unfortunately, for the Roos. So I'm going for the Blues as well, but I'm expecting a cracking contest. And what I will say, you sort of count out Clarence at your own peril a little bit. I didn't really give them much chance at all last week, and they were very good and just kept coming. So I'm expecting that same appetite for the contest and same intensity from Jeremy Webley's Chargers today.
You mentioned Jones. He is a big out, Damo. He's probably been their best player across the 3 games, I think, named in the best in every game this season, so hopefully they'll get him back pretty quickly. But it just puts a little bit more pressure on that midfield, so maybe Cox will spend a little bit more time running around there as opposed to playing a percentage of time deep forward. Chambers will obviously need to fire up for them in there as well. He's a consistent player for the Roos. O'Brien, I thought, ran into a bit of form in particularly the 3rd quarter last week for the Roos, so he'll obviously need to have a really strong game for them today, because Launceston in that particular area really strong. Pofferman's a player that we really loved watching last year, particularly in the finals, boys.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, as well as the ruck battle, I think. Bailey against Leadham. Leadham, he's a real animal. His work in the air and also at ground level, his follow-up stuff is phenomenal. And I just think him against Bailey is going to be a key one, because I know Bailey only freshly back in the TSL and this Clarence lineup, but Jeremy Webley has really high hopes for him and really rates what he sees on the track. So that's going to be a great contest, and I think it's going to be a great contest throughout. But as I said, I am going for the Blues. We aren't far away from getting underway here. Sun-drenched Blunston Arena. Really lovely day for footy. You couldn't ask for much more, Breno.
You couldn't, and a big game across town as well at North Hobart with Tommy Couch returning for North Launceston this afternoon. We'll keep a close eye on that as the afternoon goes on. But good to see him back. Brad Cox-Goodjet not playing for the Bombers this afternoon, but you'd think North Launceston will win that game. Brownie, across the road at North Hobart?
Yeah, you'd think that'd be a pretty comfortable win, I would have thought, to North Launceston. Probably no tougher ask for a very young North Hobart side, when we know they're rebuilding and giving plenty of game time to their juniors. So look forward more to their development in 3 or 4 years' time when they've had 60 or 70 games under their belt. So, but all eyes now for the start of this game too between Launceston and Clarence. Looking forward to this one, boys. Just keep your eye on number 32 for Launceston. This will be the first time we've seen him, Jack Ruston. So he's new to Launceston Footy Club. It's been in really good form for them. Didn't play in round one, wasn't picked, but since then has been among the best players. And his ground level ball, I believe, is terrific. Mitch Thorpe, a big fan of the way Jack Ruston goes about his footy. So he's spent a bit of time, I think, at Rachel Lee and then South East Suns last year, but he's been a real find for them. So he'll be that really defensive forward inside 50 who'll chase and tackle and really put a lot of pressure on. Looking forward to seeing that. He stands out on the field. I tell you what, boys. Yeah, fire engine red. Really, really bright. Josh Green type colour, that is.
It could not be redder than Ed Richards' hair for the Western Bulldogs. That is the reddest hair I've ever seen, Brownie.
Yeah, you can't miss Ed Richards, and you won't miss Jack Ruston today. So we're looking forward to seeing him run about. He's got Matt Ling on him at the moment. I like Matt Ling's game last week, so that could be a good matchup. So we're into the middle, and we're about to get underway here at Launceston Arena. Clarence Roos v the Launceston Blues. Bailey and Leadham to duke it out. Umpire Sammy Bridges just sorting his shorts out. Come on, mate. Here we go. And we're underway. Up the ball goes. It's down from Bailey. A good little punch, not gathered. Almost picked up by Tyrrell. Not so. Still there and up for grabs for either side. Leadham watches on as a pack forms. It'll be rinse and repeat. Again, still in the centre square. Just a rolling maul. Didn't go too far. Bailey and Leadham again. This will be an interesting tussle. Leadham taps down. Not going anywhere too fast. Underneath that is Rundle. And we'll have it again. So stoppage, stoppage, stoppage to start. Who can get clear of congestion? Down from Leadham. Rundle on the boot. Looking inside 50. A bouncing ball. Rutherford Kelly Mansell eyed it off, but Williamson claims it. Scraps out a kick. Paul Freeman gathers. Tries to get through a couple. Can't. It's gathered by Clarence. They're away through Harper and then Webberley. Shapes a kick. Eventually gets it off. A bouncing, tumbling ball inside 50. It's picked up by Richmond. Going nowhere fast. Agarnis. Vandervelde. They'll work it out of defence now. Brown under a bit of pressure. Too much pressure. He's tackled. That's got to be ball. It is. So Clarence bringing the heat early in this one. Yeah, good signs for them, wasn't it? And just tried to bite off a little bit more in the back half there, Launceston, and Clarence's defensive pressure was up after a fairly erratic kick from Webberley inside the forward 50. And they managed to lock it in, cause a bit of a scrap, and they win the free kick for a, what would you call it, holding the ball these days, boys. It was holding the ball. I think it's Dickinson again. He impressed us last week. He'll wander in. Distance shouldn't be a trouble at all. Accuracy isn't either. Clarence are on the board here at Launceston Arena. Knows his way around a footy ground, Dickinson. We know he's injured 12 months ago with a knee injury. Didn't play a lot of footy, but last year he impressed us more, I guess, with his forward craft. He was able to finish off his work. He was involved in a couple of assists too with Wade Wall. They combined pretty well last week, and a good start for him with a defensive tackle and a nice finish.
So Clarence get the opening goal here. 2.5 minutes gone. Beautiful day at beautiful Bellerive Oval, Launceston Arena. An intriguing clash, this one, as we restart in the middle. Leadham won on that occasion. Paul Freeman out of the middle. It's a wobbly old kick inside 50. No one could take the mark. Clarence gather the footy. It's in dangerous territory still, though. Ball spills to ground. Players dive onto it. And the umpire eventually blows his whistle for a ball up. 30 metres out from the Launceston goal. Up it goes again. Thorpe in the ruck. And now Bailey gets it out of danger. A bouncing ball for Webberley. Can't collect the footy. Blackberry. He puts it on the boot. Heads towards goals. It's across the face. And the mark taken by the Roos. They play on quickly. Chambers takes the mark. Chance to slow things down now. Just take a breath. Chambers kicks it up to the wing right in front of us here in the commentary position. And goes out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
Good matchup, boys, won't it? Van der Velde against Wade Wall. He's just so disciplined, the Launceston defender. Not real proficient by foot, but, geez, his one-on-one work has been tremendous over his journey in the TSL competition.
Leadham on his own there. Harper. And now O'Brien gets it further afield towards the Clarence goal, but Wade Wall couldn't control the footy and out of bounds once more. So the Bailey brothers back in this week after their fishing expedition interstate.
Echuca,
yes. So
a bit stiff when they boys. They planned it a few.
Yeah,
they planned it last year when the first
Rossica
fixture came out. Yeah, not their fault.
And it comes again. Leadham at the back. But the Roos get the footy, and they're away here. Oh, good tackle though, and umpires pinged the player for holding the ball. So free kick going the way of Launceston. And it's Gillow.
Yeah, young Gillow.
He impressed us last year, didn't he, boys? He's a pretty smart player, neat by foot, good around the goals.
Yep, spot that up beautifully there, Gillow. And now we see Riley, the former Devonport player, into the Launceston team this year. He's got Hines on there, but didn't use him. He finds another target, but it's Chambers who comes in and takes the intercept mark. Plays on quickly. And now here goes Cunliffe. He's good last week for the Roos. Kicked a goal as well. And Webley now takes the mark on the half-back line.
So Jeremy Webley assesses his option. Down the line he goes, looking for Wall. Over the top of him, it's Dickinson. Tries to scrap out a handball. Van der Velde intercepts, finds Hines, usually good by foot. He looks towards the four-line. It's gathered by Taylor. He's crunched in a tackle, gets the hands out. Kelly Mansell looks to pounce. Can't. Might come back in quickly, though. Blackberry gets by one, steers it in. Not quite, almost, though. Out the back. They'll gather through Smith. But it's trickled over and out for a throw. So deep in attack for Launceston as they look to get a reply here at Blunston Arena. So the ball thrown in. Bailey taps down. It's Castle now who just throws it on the boot. Richmond colliding with a couple of Blues. Big lead on one of them. Well done by Cunliffe.
Courageous.
Did terrifically well in traffic. Got his way out. Boyce now on boot. A little one. And it's a good one. To find his teammate in Liberatore. Powers inside 50. Should have been taken by Bailey. Wasn't. They scrap out a kick through Cox. It falls to Paul Freeman. Eyes goals. Has it smothered. Cox follows up. Paul Freeman tackles. They're not out of danger here yet, the Roos. Castle gone. Gone for all money, and that'll be a Blackberry set shot. I don't know whether advantage was paid or...
Looks like it was.
It looks like it was.
So that's
Jeez, that's a bit stiff, I think.
Because I thought it was fairly instantaneous, that kick right on the...
I thought so too. Thorpe and Bailey. Bailey looks to tap down. It's pounced on by Taylor. It's high up and under. Punch down. It's all Clarence at the fall of the ball. And Cunliffe, he started well. Webley out the back. He should find Wall. Wall on centre wing. Gets a bit of space on Van der Velde. He's taken his grab. Not a heat to kick to for Wade Wall. He tries a nudgy little ball that is not good, and Agarnis takes it. Athletic defender. That is a good kick. He finds Shepherd. Shepherd has Paul Freeman on the burst. Opts to go inside for Liberatore. It's a good name to call. Sends long in the Thorpe direction. Gets hands to it, but doesn't take it. At the crumb was Taylor. Gets back for Thorpe. He throws it on the boot and out of bounds on the full. Good pressure from the Roos.
I just have to be careful with their forward entries today, Launceston. We're so used to Holmes zoning off and being that third man up. He's so courageous in the air. So Launceston will have to lower their eyes a little bit more, potentially, to see a shorter option rather than just blaze away.
Williamson short to Howlett. So Howlett looks to a crowded wing. That's where he heads. The target is Bailey, almost out the back. Holmes couldn't gather off the ground. Vandervelde in immediate trouble, but it gets out the back to Taylor. But it already run out of play, so it'll be a throw-in right in front of our broadcast position here at Launceston Arena.
So Clarence led this one by one straight kick. Slow start scoring-wise here this afternoon in beautiful conditions. And a big tackle was placed there. Umpire will ball it up again. Almost 10 minutes gone. Opening term. Just the 2 games today in the TSL. We had the big Anzac Day game on Wednesday with Glenorchy beating the Tigers down at the Twin Ovals as we see another ball up take place.
Good tackle there from Jack Donnell, and we're used to him playing across half-back, boys, but spending more time in the midfield this year.
Up it goes again, and Leadham had it all on his own there, and he throws Wade Wall to the ground, and another ball up. A slow start here, Brownie.
Yeah, both teams just feeling their way at the moment.
Ball to ground again, Riley's there, and so is the Roos. They kick it inside the centre square here at Launceston Arena. Now here's Boyce. He had some time there. Spots up a player. He finds Savage. Kicks it off. And now it's inside 50 for the Blues. Nice mark taken by Jay Blackberry. And he'll go back and now have a shot on a slight angle and will kick from about 40 metres out.
Well, that was a super inside 50 kick. I think it was Casey Brown on that occasion, boys. And just what we were talking about before. The ability to just lower your eyes, try and spot someone up rather than potentially go to Mitch Thorpe where it might be 2-on-1.
So Jay Blackberry, what a star he is. Can he get Launceston's first goal of the afternoon? The kick looks okay off the boot, and it is Jay Blackberry with Launceston's first. It's 6 apiece.
Well, he's always been very efficient by foot, and even at junior level was always dangerous around the goal, spends a lot of time, as we know now, midfield, but can go forward and just finds those pockets of spaces in dangerous positions. And when the ball's in his hands, he normally makes no mistake, and that was on the back of what we mentioned there before, boys, a beautiful inside 50 kick and delivery from Casey Brown.
Was indeed, Brownie. Interesting start to this game. Both teams just sort of feeling their way into the contest. Up we go again. Leadham wins the hit out. Down for Donnell, and he tries to shake a couple of tackles. Going nowhere. O'Brien gets the ball moving Clarence's way, and it's a good mark from Casey Brown. Young defender. Looks out onto the wing, and Leadham's his target. Almost takes the grab, not quite. Taken by Holmes. Holmes sends Dickinson in all sorts of trouble. Might get a free kick. He'll get a free kick there, Dickinson. Holmes was probably, I think he's lucky stars he got a free kick because he sold him into trouble with a real hospital effort. So Dickinson, long inside 50. Coming from the side was Harper, not quite. Rundle gets it moving, looking for Spon. Can't take the grab. At the fall, the ball was Seymour. Seymour now wrapped up in an aggressive Leadham tackle. Brown comes in to try and deal with a footy. He's wrapped up as well, going nowhere.
You mentioned Matthew Spon, boys. We didn't see a lot of him last year. He was injured. Spent some time at Bridgenorth before coming across to Launceston.
So Leadham down. Rundle now at the fall of the ball. Tries to bustle his way through a couple. Drop the ball out, but play on, says the umpire. Gillow now. Finds Spon over the back. He's run himself into trouble. They'll try and work it out through hands now, the Roos. It was Sharman to Holmes. He goes back. Probably wish he didn't. They pick it up. The Blues, but not for long. Sharman now gets it on the boot, looking for Dickinson. He arrives, can't take the ball. Boyce gets it moving. Inside is Tyrrell. A bit of space through the corridor. Looks long in the Thorpe direction. He gets to the ball but can't take the grab. It's picked up by Jake Hines. A little one inside for Taylor. What's the next option? Taylor to Blackberry. Plays on immediately on that laser-like left boot and through the middle. Jay Blackberry has 2, and so do Launceston.
Didn't they work it well by foot then, Breno? It started with Boyce across half-back, and they were just able again to lower their eyes and spot up a free man. Nice build-up again. Blackberry just in a nice pocket of space there. Saw there was no one around, elected to play on, and with his foot skills, kicks his second. gives Launceston a 1-goal lead early on in this first quarter.
Yeah, slick start here from the Blues, and Jay Blackberry particularly with those 2 goals. So they lead it by 1 at the moment. Almost 14 minutes gone, opening term. We restart again in the middle. Leadham gets it down. Tries to get his own footy back. Riley's there too for the Blues, but the Roos through Webley, the coach. They get it inside 50. High ball, no one could take the mark. Ball still alive here though. Can they have a shot on goal here? They line up through Sharman, I think it was. And
Fletcher Seymour.
Seymour, was it? Apologies. And the Blues take a mark on the last line of defence. Oh, it's a terrible kick. Is it just... No, out in the full. So the Roos now will try and have a shot on goal here, you'd suspect. So can they try and square the ledger with another major? The kick is just not a good one. In fact, out of bounds on the full. So the Blues get the footy back. Not a lot of offer. It's a very congested half of the ground at the moment. And that might very well be out on the full as well.
That's a hat-trick, boys. It's a
that
hat-trick
is
for the game.
extraordinary. 3 in a row. Wowee.
Error riddled at the moment.
It came back in very quickly, though, the footy. And we're back underway again. That was smothered, though. And now the Roos have another opportunity here. And umpire's blowing the whistle. Was a free kick being paid? I think it has.
O'Brien.
And Jackson O'Brien will have the footy.
He works hard, O'Brien, doesn't he? Particularly when he hasn't got the footy. His defensive work always been a key feature of his game.
How's the distance here, Brownie?
No, I reckon he'll be right on it, boys. Not sure he's quite got that in him.
Yeah, looks a little nervous as he goes for the short pass down low, and the mark has been taken by Jake Cox. He wheels around, looks at goal, but the kick was not his best at all. And the mark taken by the Blues on the last line again. So a bit of a wasted opportunity there for Clarence as Lonnie bring it out of defence now. Umpire's blowing the whistle again.
50 penalty, I think, from encroaching on that space, which they've clamped down on this season, Damo.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
Bit of the rule of the season so far, isn't it?
So Ryan Tyrrell has the footy for the Blues. He kicks it and it just goes outside the centre square. Oh, good mark taken there. Is it Shepherd or Palfreyman? One or the other? Smith. And now here is Cunliffe bursting through the middle here at Blunston Arena. And a turnover again. So pretty scrappy here at the moment. Ball on the far side of the ground. Vanderveld still with the Blues. Players dive onto the footy. Harper's in there for Clarence. The umpire will ball it up. So pretty scrappy couple of minutes now. So you approach time on. Waiting on the ball up again. Run to wait. Still Launceston here now. They get it towards their 50. There's the young man you spoke about earlier this afternoon, Rushton Cam, with his red hair. We can't miss him out there.
I think what's going to be a challenge today, Damo, for the Clarence team is just the depth in the midfield. We've mentioned Brady Jones being out, but Launceston just seem to have more options and they can roll through there.
Here's Dunellen, got the handball away. Paul Freeman's in there. But turned over by the Roos. Webley, he gets held up with the footy. Can he get it out? He can't. Umpire will ball it up again.
Yeah, you think of Riley, Blackberry, Dunellen can take his turn in there. We're used to Rundle being there. Boyce can even play midfield. Hines another.
Yeah. They got plenty as Bailey takes this one out of the ruck, hands it off. Going nowhere was Howlett. Palfreyman comes out with it, throws it on the boot, a high one looking for Thorpe, almost takes a juggling attempt. Rushton at the fall, through it goes. That was sharp stuff from Cam's man, Rushton.
Well, that's it. That's the modus operandi of his game. When there's a ground level ball, the reports are that he's electric, and he read that quicker than anybody else. A good contest from Mitch Thorpe to bring it to ground. And we mentioned him in the pre-build-up. Rushton, he's been in really good form the last couple of weeks. Can obviously kick a goal, but very dangerous at ground level and works very hard defensively, we're told, to keep the ball in. Good start for him to get on the board.
So 2-goal buffer now. Accurate kicking this afternoon as opposed to last weekend here where we saw mountains and mountains of behinds. It's 4 straight goals at the moment here at Launceston Arena.
You just wonder, Damo, don't you? Just it might be left at too few in that midfield for Clarence. Only early days yet, but...
So Leadham wins out in the ruck. Bailey off the ground. Mandeville was there. Kelly Mansell. And now Garnis is thrown to the ground.
Great tackle.
Still was a great tackle. Still alive here now for the Blues. Oh, intercepted though by Clarence. And now they go for goal through Cox. It's not a great kick. It's bouncing. Gabby Chambers kicks a goal. And Clarence get to back within 1.
Yeah, good response, wasn't it? And in the end, Cox probably could have blazed away, but just probably saw Chambers out the corner of his eye and just lobbed it into a little bit of space, and he was able to run on and kick. I badly need a goal for the Roos. Only early days, of course, 20-minute mark of this first quarter, but Launceston were on a bit of a roll there, so a nice reply back from the Roos.
I was going to say, it was a clever kick in the end from Cox. And the straight kicking continues. 5 straight goals here at Launceston Arena. Back in the middle, Leadham and Bailey to do battle. Bailey with first hands on it. Favours Dunellen or even Blackberry. Blackberry picks it up. Throws it on the boot. Rushton over his head and taken by Holmes. Holmes now eager to get going. He heads out for Dickinson through his hands, able to mop up. Over for the coach, Webberley. A little give off. He'll receive it back from Richmond. Webberley inside 50. Wade Wall spoiled by his own teammate. And they'll get it clear now. It was Cunliffe, I think. No, it was Silver. It was Silver. So they feed it out through hands now, Launceston. It's Smith over the top for Rushton. He's got wheels. You're right, Cam Brown. He puts this one inside 50 looking for Palfreyman. Arrives late. He's still got a Palfreyman, but he's got 2 Clarence players all over him.
Well, he swooped on that ground level ball again. Rushton.
So a fascinating contest here. Good pressure from both sides. Neither team really getting their game going just yet. Thorpe in the ruck, down and straight for Rundle. He's absolutely smothered in a tackle. Seymour tries to get a little space. Can't. Kelly Mansell pounces. Hands off. O'Brien snatches. Gets it over the top for Chambers, the most recent goal kicker. He fumbles as he goes to get rid of it. And he's copped one in the back. And luckily for Clarence, as Rundle was eyeing goal. So it'll be a Chambers ball. Very workmanlike player is Gabby Chambers. Just does his job. Goes short. And finds Bailey. Bailey has a bit on offer down the line, and that's where he heads. Richmond saw it early and took his grab. Promising young kid, this man.
He's good in the air.
He looks long. Out the back was Cox. Couldn't take the grab. Swung in a tackle was Brown. It'll be a ball up.
We mentioned that in the build-up, boys. I thought Casey Brown would be the one to go to Jake Cox when he pushes forward, and he picked him up on that occasion. Lovely pair of hands again from Harry Richmond.
Brilliant. Lead him now. Paddles down. Richmond almost. Out the back. It falls for Dickinson. He'll eye goal off the left boot. It's fading. Oh, it's just snicked the post. Very nearly snuck home. Not quite. The first minor score of the day.
So Hines has it. Kicking out for Launceston. Big part of their success in the back half of last year. Hines. You see Riley flew for it, but Castle now turns it over. Gets it back inside 50 for the Roos. Oh, good mark. Taken by Richmond. He's a star, boys.
Oh, look, he's really impressive for someone that's only playing, their 4th game of senior footy. I spoke to his dad, June's, on the way in to the ground today. And I think it'd be good too, boys, that the more confidence that he gets, I think the Clarence players probably need to go to him a little bit more often.
So Harry Richmond directly in front. This one is offline though, unfortunately, minus score. So little let off there for the Blues.
And that is probably an area of growth in his game. We've seen him a few times now. The set shots, probably not as proficient in general play, but that's something certainly for him to work on. But I think he's so dangerous in the air. I think Clarence have got to potentially use him a little bit more inside 50.
So, good turnover here again, potentially for the Roos, but Lonnie get the football back through Shepherd, and they've just managed to keep it alive here through a Garnis, and now Holmes, he's taken high there, probably, umpire let it go, but Clarence ended up with the footy anyway. Savage dives onto it for Launceston. Clarence away again, no, held up by Garnis. Blackberry goes in for the footy, he's had a great first quarter, Jay Blackberry, kicked the first couple of goals for the Blues. Umpire blows the whistle again.
I don't think they'd be too disappointed with this, the Roos boys, because just on balance it seems Launceston have been a little bit cleaner by foot, potentially the more dangerous side, but just 4 points in it deep in the time on in the first quarter.
So that one goes towards the boundary and unfortunately out of bounds on the full for the Roos. So the Blues will get the kick through Savage. He belts it up the ground, right to the wing. Leadham flew, but didn't get the footy. Spills to ground again. Another ball up. So 4 scoring shots to 3, 2-2-14. The Roos trail Launceston 3 straight 18. Almost 25 minutes gone this first quarter. Sun just slowly starting to disappear at this stage at Bell Reef. So the ball is with the Blues. And now here's a chance for them. They get it over the top. And can they get the footy towards their goal? It's just held up. No, they've still got it. And that's a big tackle from Holmes and a great tackle when holding the footy.
Costly fumble there from Jake Smith because he was potentially away and having an open shot on goal. As is his way, Holmes, brilliant when he hasn't got the footy defensively. Tackles very well.
Yeah, he's a star, James Holmes. We know the rising star last year, in fact. So the Roos have it in the back half. Might be
Seymour.
Yes, cricketer. We know him as. He gets it up toward the wing. And now the Roos are on here. Jake Cox has the footy. He gets the handball away, and now they're on here. And Wade Wall's all by himself running towards the footy, but the siren beats him, unfortunately. That could have been a goal for Wade Wall potentially, but unfortunately runs out of time. So quarter time here at Blunston Arena. It's Launceston 3 straight 18, Clarence 2-2-14.
Yeah, pretty interesting first quarter, wasn't it, boys? Just 4 points of difference. And we mentioned a few minutes ago, Clarence probably would be reasonably happy with that. I thought at different stages Launceston potentially looked like they were going to do some damage. I was really impressed with some of their forward 50 entries, just their ability to lower their eyes and spot up a target. It happened a couple of times where they managed to kick some goals. Both of those, incidentally, to Jay Blackberry, the ones that we were talking about there. But Clarence certainly worked their way, I thought, in the back half of that quarter and just kept on working very hard defensively. Both teams just, I guess, sorting each other out at the moment. But an interesting first quarter and a good start for the Roos boys as we look at the goal kickers for quarter time.
The goal kickers, I'll whip through them if you like. 2 to Jay Blackberry and 1 to Jack Rushton for Launceston. And the 2 goals for Clarence coming through Ashton Dickinson and Gabby Chambers. And they very nearly could have had one right on the edge of half-time there, but just not quite for Wade Wall. The siren sounding at the most inopportune of moments. So, yeah, I agree with you there, Brownie. A very fascinating opening term. I think both sides are probably pretty happy with where the game's positioned. I think Launceston probably look like they have more upside in this one, and once they get it open and use their probably superior kicking skills, they look like cutting it up. But Clarence are just combative and really making this one an arm wrestle, and if they can keep it that way, they're every chance this afternoon.
And to their credit, we've mentioned Brady Jones, but Trent Stannard's another one that they've relied heavily on over the years to consistently kick 3 or 4 goals as that dangerous small forward with electrifying pace. So they haven't got him out there today, so they'll try and manufacture some goals. But really enjoyed the contest, boys, and there's some real talent in both midfields. As we mentioned, Launceston probably bat a little bit deeper, certainly on paper. and that might be a little bit more telling in the last quarter. But some good performances. I thought Polferman started the game really well and looked dangerous for Launceston. Obviously, Blackberry with his 2 goals, he's so damaging by foot, so he's going to hurt him. Jake Hines is another one that Clarence will have to put a little bit of time to. He just sets them up beautifully, as is the way now your best users, best distributors of the ball are normally played across half-back, Breno, and if he can get his hands on the footy, he's going to do some real damage. And you mentioned he was pivotal to their season last year. Brennan, his finals in particular, I thought he went to another level. So here's another one, though, that can just push up into the midfield and be really damaging by foot. So the Roos, they'll probably be looking for a little bit more efficiency going forward. It's been a little bit haphazard at times where they've hacked it in there. So if they can lower their eyes and maybe spot up Wade Wall, who's been a good target for them in the last few games and been able to kick multiple goals for them throughout this season. Richmond's another one that they potentially could spot up by foot. He's dangerous in the air, so if he can get a hold of it, they're probably where they've got to try and get their goals from. Whether or not, and this is a difficult thing as we mentioned, when you've got when you've got Jones out of that team, it makes it difficult. Cox, you probably has to spend a lot more time up in the midfield, but he's one player that, potentially this quarter I think will spend a little bit of time down forward and try and get that match up, but I expect Casey Brown to still go with him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different looking forward mix for Clarence. Last year they got a lot of goals out of Blackburn and Standen, and neither of those two are out there today. So their issue, as you said, is efficiency and just getting those clean entries. A lot of the time their entries are under the pump, and if they can get a few more clean ones, it's going to help them a lot in this game. But still liking Launceston in this one. Just think they've got a lot of upside, and if they can get their game rolling, I think they can put a few on the board pretty quickly.
The ground hold no fears, as Breno mentioned in the build-up today. We know they had 2 terrific wins at this venue in the finals in 2017, so they'll certainly feel comfortable travelling. They do different things, so I'm led to believe that Sam Lonergan leaves it up to the players in terms of the way they prepare for an away game. Some people choose to travel by car, some people travel by the team bus. So everyone doing something a little bit different. If we see both coaches now having probably analysed, Breno, a lot of the key performance indicators that they'll measure their game plan on. They'll come and feed that back in and now try and provide some real direction and leadership to their charges at quarter time.
Yeah, my concern for Clarence remains that midfield depth. I think Cunliffe and O'Brien have done well in there, but as the game pushes on, Launceston have the ability to throw different players in the mix, and I'm not sure Clarence will. Just quickly around the grounds, 4 goals, 8-32 Northern Bombers lead 2 goals, 1-13 North Hobart over at North Hobart Oval.
Quarter time score?
Yep. So quarter time over there. So not a bad start for North Hobart. A bit up against it today with Tom Couch coming back in just to add to the embarrassment of riches for North Launceston, but of course Bradcock's Goodyear missing. He's been carrying a bit of a hammy, I think.
Big news today too with Colin Garland potentially playing for the Demons later this year. That's a nice little pickup, isn't it?
Well, and Jacob Gilbert's the other one that's come back from AFL footy, and that's what I think the competition's looking for, isn't it, boys? Just to be able to get some of that experience and people that have played at the highest level to come back and impart some real leadership and direction at a club would be a real fill-up for any club. And we know Launceston, obviously, the 2 obvious ones there, Sam Lonergan and Mitch Thorpe, that have running around for Launceston. Webley obviously spent some time at Richmond as well. So, yeah, those sorts of recruits are really important, I think, for the TSL.
No question about it. Looking forward to seeing Cole Garland run around. So, almost ready to restart this one. A fascinating first term, 2-2-14. The Roos trail the Blues, 3 straight 18. Jay Blackberry dominus in that one.
The other one that's an out today for the Roos is Neil, boys. He was
really good last week, wasn't he?
And the last 2 weeks he's been among Clarence's best players. So just with that, looks like Williamson is going down to play forward. We've seen play back last week.
Don't mind this, Brandon.
Did play forward early on in round 1, I think, from memory against Lauderdale. Yeah, I think it's a good coaching move from the Roos. Launceston haven't got a heap of height down there at the moment.
and they're height that like to run and bounce and take the game on a bit, so I think it's good keeping Agarnis accountable. I think it's a good move from Jeremy Webley. So we're back in the middle to start this second quarter. Clarence Launceston, it's a tight one, up it goes. One down by Leadham, almost for Rundle. He gets on hands and knees and then gives it to the big ruckman who booms it long and strong, looking for Thorpe. It bounces out the back. Can he beat the foot race? Just bounce through.
That is a goal.
The most unlikely of goals from Leadham. He's kicked that from inside the square.
Well and truly
I'd
inside
like
the
to
square.
see how far that's travelled. I reckon he still kicked that in the inside where we can see the cricket pitch.
Yeah,
if that
absolutely
makes sense, boys. So
It's
that's
an
a
enormous roof.
75-metre plus.
I mean, it bounced a fair way. It was good work, probably by Thorpe, just to make sure no one got a hand on it. But
That was huge.
But wasn't
that's
it great
one
follow-up
for the
work
highlight reel.
from Leadham? He's won the hit-outs, I thought, clearly in the first quarter, but he impresses you just with his ability to get dirty as a ruckman and get the ground-level ball. That's what he did on that occasion.
You won't see that too often. That was extraordinary. As Clarence try and get their first inside 50 of the quarter. Not quite, as Hines turns it over. Shepherd's there. And wrapped up in a tackle was Tyrrell. And ball not going too far. And we'll have another ball up. That was huge. It was awesome.
Well, it caught us off guard, didn't it?
It did,
It
yeah.
looked like, oh, yeah, he's got onto that torp okay, and then it just seemed to carry and then rolled 15 or so metres. Might have taken a little bounce to the left.
take it when it comes for you, I reckon, Brownie.
Shepherd kicks it forward for the Blues. And they go again. Ball goes to ground. Still alive. No one can get the clean break. They can now through Blackberry. And now it's in the Thorpe direction again. He can't take the mark. And it dribbles out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
So that's the one I was talking about early on in the first quarter. And look, that's a rush kick from Blackburn, and he was under pressure. But Holmes will drop off and make it a 2-on-1 on Mitch Thorpe. So if they can just have the presence of mind and patience just to lower their eyes with a little bit more poise in those forward 50 entries, there should be a free man for Launceston.
Thorpe in the ruck contest there. Mitch Thorpe turns around, looks at goal. It's across the face, minus score. So unlucky there. Nice piece of play from the former Devonport coach. Went to Launceston this year, of course. So the Roos bring it back into play. They're really
What is it out there, boys?
I know, they're really having
Bermuda-
problems with that, aren't they, this year?
The Bermuda Triangle, that area of the ground. I reckon that's the fourth out in the full we've had.
So Hamish Leadham with the footy. Little kick inside 50. Mark couldn't be taken by Rundle. And again, another boundary throw-in. Yeah, it's certainly caused some issues this afternoon. That's for sure. So you wait the ball in. Thorpe still in the ruck for the Blues against Bailey. And it comes. Big punch away by Thorpe. Oh, look at this. Is it a chance for the Blues? It's not. It's actually out on the full. So a little rush kick there.
Well, Jake Smith, we've normally, over his career, has been across half back.
And it comes again. The coach will get it in the back pocket. Not heaps on offer for him at this stage, so he decides to go long in the Cox direction. Bounces over everyone's head. And now Hines has it. Handball over the top. Big tackle from Dickinson. And it's seen over the boundary for a boundary throw-in.
It's the way footy's played now, boys, in that forward half and where you just need to work defensively to lock the footy in and get repeat inside 50s. Maybe that's the reason Sonny Whiting was left out of the team today.
Yes, an interesting talking point, that one. Taylor, now Rundle bursts through, finds a bit of room. Good kick and finds Kelly Mansell, who's been quiet, eager to get going. Spots out Thorpe, one bite of the cherry, and then it's run over.
You're right, Damo. We haven't called Ruller's name much today, have we?
Been very quiet. Running off a wing and up half forward. He just hasn't got himself in the game just yet, but he's one of those sorts of players, only needs a couple of moments and he can light it up. Comes out the back, bouncing. That might be a free kick. No, says the umpire. Matt Ling just agriculturally punts it. Boyce can't take the grab. Running through was Cunliffe. That's sharp play. Gets it on the boot. Spots up Wade Wall. Wall over the top
No
for Dickinson at the races. Got no one inside 50. And proves costly. As Blackberry wraps him up in the tackle, Aganis takes the advantage. Tyrrell now plays on, I thought. No, says the umpire. Looks inside. Finds Rundle. He's got heaps of space. He opts to go long, looking for Kelly Mansell. Almost over the back. Rushton just tries to palm it to a teammate in Liberatore. Follows up with a tackle. Still going, still rolling here. Kelly Mansell following up on hands and knees. The Roos try to get out through Jackman. He's wrapped up. They eventually call for a stoppage.
Case in point there, Jack Rushton, 2 really good defensive inside 50 tackles. And we know Sonny Whiting has been a terrific goal kicker over the journey, but maybe that defensive side of the game is something that Launceston are looking a little bit more from him.
Riley crunched a tackle. The ball spilt out. Rushton tries to extract it. He's wrestling with a couple of Roos now. And he'll eventually be brought to ground.
Well, this is the modern way, isn't it? Just to really scrap hard, score from your forward 50 entries and just lock it in there.
So up the ball goes. Bailey down, out the back. Webley has some space to spot out a target. He looks for Wall or even Cunliffe. Cunliffe in the end got hands to it but couldn't take the grab. As the big animal, Hamish Leedham, ran through.
It was good courage from Cunliffe to work his way back there.
I'm liking the way Leedham goes about his business.
I think he's one of the more improved players in the competition.
In it comes. Leedham down for Rundle. Spins. Couldn't get a handball out. Riley wrestling with Seymour, and Rushton helps supply a tackle. Down it goes. And it'll be another ball up.
A lot of Josh Green about him, Rushton.
There is a little bit of that. Leedham and Bailey. Bailey wins down. Riley sees it out. So he'll be thrown in again. Fair few stoppages today, Brownie. Asking a bit of the midfield, and both these ruckmen seem like they're up for the workload. They don't mind the battle. Back Leedham. Paddles down. Rundle loses it as he looks to burst away. Couldn't get the boot to ball, but play on, says the umpire. Webley pushes aside one, hands it off for Jackman. He loses the footy. They just try and scrap it forward here through Gillow. He's wrapped up.
Rundle and Pofferman, boys, very good players exiting the stoppage. Just seem to read it really well off the hands. Got a good understanding with Leedham in the ruck.
Rundle's had a sharp quarter, I reckon. Bailey down inadvertently to Liberatore. Almost for Castle. Comes out the back to Smith. This one's better from Smith. Straight through the hay diddle diddle. And Launceston kick another.
Well, that's important for his confidence. Hasn't had a great start to the game. Been caught holding the ball early on in this game. But that was a really smart snap and made the most of his opportunities there. Didn't blaze away. Made sure he had a good look. And across the body. And now up to a game high 17 points, Bruno.
Yeah, danger signs here for the Roos. They would want the next goal just to slow this Launceston train down a little bit. 5-1, plays 2-2. 17-point margin as we restart in the middle. Big tap down by Leedham again. He hasn't missed too many today. He gets the footy back after Blackberry gave it to him inside 50. Mark taken by the Roos. Bailey. Back into the team this afternoon, as we mentioned earlier. Pops it up, and good mark. No, not taken. Paul Freeman's there. The Bruce players dive on it, though.
Good handball.
Inside the centre square, and they're away now. Here's Cox. He's got some time and space. Kicks it forward. They play on super quickly, though. Cox gets the footy back. Approaches 50. Little chip, kick up high for Sharman. Further afield, and now they're away. Unfortunately, muck it up, but now here's a chance for them. Touched on the line. So unlucky there. Tyrrell got hands to it.
It's just a bit labour intensive for the Roos when they're some smart work by Coxo on 2 occasions there to lower his eyes and spot a target up.
So Riley brings it back in for the visitors. And ball trickles out of bounds for a boundary throw-in. So 7.5 gone, second term. Launceston leading this one by 16 points. Sun's back out here at beautiful Bell Reef. In it comes. Leadham again. Wins the ruck contest. Blackberry taken high. No umpire let it go. Got boot to ball. Now Russian's in there again. You can't miss him. Ball held up. Another stoppage. So it's been a stop-starty game so far. It's an entertaining one, intriguing one so far too, as the Roos get it down towards their attacking end once more, but only as far as the boundary. Five, 1, 2, 3. Here we go again. So Clarence with the footy. The ball just wrapped up again though. And no one can just get a clean break here. We stop again. So yeah, it's just hard to get the footy out at the moment, Brownie.
One of the challenges for Clarence boys, they just haven't been able to find a mark inside 50. Look at both their goals today. The first one, Dickinson from a holding the ball decision. Chambers with one over the back.
Again, ball not going far at all before we stop again.
And we know they do have a smaller forward line, but they just need, if they can, to try and find some targets inside that forward 50 today.
So restart. Can anyone get a clean break? The Blues try to, but the Roos all over the footy. Oh, nice interception though here. Respond. And now can the Blues make an escape? They do. It's Boyce. He's dragged down though. Good tackle from behind.
Okay, so this is the kick, boys.
So Clarence has the footy. There's a few options there too inside 50. Not using it, Castle. And goes the shorter option to Cox. Cox inside now. The kick's not his best. It goes over the head and Blackberry collects for the Blues. He turns around, plays on. And Spon takes the mark. He centres the footy to Savage. Not heaps doing for him. Decides to play on and go long. Might not work to his advantage. Holmes from behind couldn't take it.
Oh,
ball for him, and so clever. Look at him go. Has a bounce. Looks at goal. Goes for the short option in Thorpe. Couldn't take the mark. Ball on its own. Bouncing. No one can get there. They eventually do. Thorpe, though, with a bandage around his nose. He's brought to the ground, and the ball up will take place right near the goal square for Launceston.
How's the gather for them from Python, boys?
Oh,
that was terrific.
so clever. He's the star of the comp.
Probably could have gone himself in the finish.
Probably should have.
Too unselfish.
Up it goes. Thorpe in the ruck. Taps it down. Can they get a chance here, the Blues? They can, but it's just smothered. But here we go again. They look at goal. It's off the boot of Gillow. Thorpe! Mitch Thorpe takes a nice mark. And he'll go back and have a shot. Not too far out, but the angle will be a tough one.
It was a good mark, wasn't it, from an experienced campaigner here. It'll be interesting to see if he'll go straight for the drop punt. But just protected the ball drop beautifully. I think he may run around, boys. There it is.
Thorpe runs around. Nice bandage around the scone and kicks the goal for Launceston. That's their 6th this afternoon. And they've gone out now to a big lead.
Yeah, no, a clever mark and nice finish. Showed all his experience there to work his way through that situation and just open up the angle and a nice, neat finish. He won't have it easy today, Mitch Thorpe, because Jason Bailey's a really good defensive player. We know that, and a good matchup traditionally gets the job on Mitch Thorpe, so that'll be a really good battle. But out to a 22-point ball game, boys. They just had their chance of the inside 50 kick there before Clarence, Jake Cox. I think it might have been young Tyson Hanslow who was just missed with that target.
So back in the middle, Wall and Leadham. They get it out through Sharman. He looks long out the back. That might have been taken, and it was. Harper.
Well,
arrived very late.
I can't recall too often today, boys, where they've managed to take a mark inside 50. And that was a great bit of play, centre bounce clearance from the Roos, and a nice mark to Harper. He spent a little bit of time in the first quarter on the midfield. It's pretty good last week for the Roos.
I liked his game last week, Harper. In he comes. Vanderveld on the mark. He's hit it nicely through the middle, so that's exactly what the Roos needed. Cut the margin. Cut the margin back to 16 points.
Well, that's their first goal of this quarter after Launceston have kicked the first 3 in this second quarter. So nice response from the Roos, and they just managed to find their way with a bit of traffic. A nice inside 50 entry. Who was that? Sharman, I think it might have been.
Yeah, Sharman.
Damo with a nice deep forward entry, and Harper just had the ability to jump up and take a really good contested mark against some quality opposition down there in the Launceston defence.
So we restart again. Up it goes. Spot in the ruck now for Launceston. We lead him off the ground. Rundle, handballs to Hines. And now Blackberry will get the footy right on the wing. He was going to play on, but decided to slow it up.
Got some left footers, Launceston, haven't they?
They do indeed. And Blackberry goes forward, hits up Riley. Plays on, got the kick away just in time. It's inside 50 again. Thorpe couldn't take it on this occasion. Ball to ground.
There he is.
Oh, here he is. Rushton throws it on the boot. Nobody home, though, for the Blues. It's going to bounce and bounce out of bounds. Boundary throw in.
That ground level ball, again, you can see why Mitch Thorpe's a big rap for this young man. Just making his way at TSL level since coming across to the NTFA, lower tier competitions in Launceston.
In it comes again. And Wall won it on that occasion. Ball goes to ground. Roos get it out of danger, or do they? No, they don't. It's still with Launceston. The kick's gone to the boot of Casey Brown, and it's a goal. So nice quick reply there from the Blues to put the margin out to a big one again.
Well, like many of the young players, has come out of St Pat's College. Casey Brown, we know he played some Mariners over the journey, but it seems to be getting better and better and more comfortable at TSL level. I know Launceston have a really high regard for his abilities, quick, and he can do a job. We saw him play on Jay Bowden last year on a few occasions and acquitted himself pretty well, and that was similar to the last goal for Launceston, a really neat snap across the body. Bit of a body blow there for the Roos, just as I was starting to work their way back into this contest.
Yeah, it's a stinger, Brownie. One thing I'd say about Casey Brown, that really good player, but needed to find a bit more of the footy, and he's doing that. Up it goes. Wall and Spon. Wall paddles down. Sharman shakes a couple of tackles, can't shake the third, or he gets a free kick. Caught one high.
Well, he's been okay since he's moved into the middle of the ground. Just that bigger body for them.
Billy Sharman looks long inside 50. This one will suit a Garnis. He's spoiled by his own teammate in Riley. At the fall was Tyrrell. He's got Kelly Mansell on his own on the wing. Not sure if he spotted him or just whether the fortuitous kick landed in the hands of Kelly Mansell. He hits up Taylor through his hands. Sharman now. Can't shake the tackle. At the fall was Taylor. Back in there. Sharman wrapping up a tackle. The ball up. Centre wing. Ricky Ponting stands side of Blunston Arena. Up it goes again. Spon and Wall. Wall wins down. Bustling through was Rundle. He's been terrific. Out for Palfreyman. Been good as well. Throws it on the boot. Smith. Good punch coming. A really good punch coming from Gall. Sees it out of play.
Sorry, Damo. That's a little bit of a concern for mine, the Roos. Just the work of Palfreyman and Rundle, as we mentioned, to either front exit, the stoppage in particular, just to give their team first use of the footy. Looking a little bit ominous for mine.
I agree. Over the back was Leadham. Rundle had eyed it off, but tripped over at the most inopportune of moments. They're battling in there again. Taylor this time comes out with it. Looks to hand off for Shepherd. Loses his footing. Seymour away now. Onto the wing. He spots out a target. That target is Howlett. Howlett does well inside back for Seymour. Is he being held? Play goes on. They'll work it out now, Launceston. Agarnis running away looking for Palfreyman. Handball doesn't meet its target. They'll just move it forward. The Roos looking for Harper. A little tunnel ball handball. Doesn't quite work out for Savage. They all pile on top here. And it'll be a ball up right on the edge of the square, approaching attacking 50 for the Clarence Roos. Margin, 22 points. Need to get a couple of goals in quick succession, really, the Roos. Bailey and Leadham Cox now through traffic. Almost gets on the boot, not quite. Good tackle, Blackberry. Looked like it might be a promising entry, not quite. Good kick out for Lederman, good hands. And he unleashes Hines with a handball. Needs to just backtrack a little. Has an ally in Shepherd. A piercing ball finds Leedham. Sorry, not Leedham, Paul Freeman. Paul Freeman down the line. Long and high is the kick. Spawn almost.
Oh.
Smith. And then inside, Hines might butter up. He goes back. Smith there on the paint of 50. A kick inside, looking for Gillow. A couple of juggles and then intervention from Gall. Seymour bumped as he goes to kick. Cops it high. They'll just get it moving through Bailey. It might come back just as quick though. As the handball's over the top to Smith. Doesn't hit its target. Instead trickles out of play. 22 points the margin. 18 and change gone here in the second term at Blunston Arena. Launceston in charge of the contest at this point in time. Bailey down. Not quite again. There's a whistle though. It'll be a free kick for the Roos, so that'll relieve some pressure. It's against Paul Freeman. It'll be a Gabby Chambers ball. They're denying the switch a little bit here, Launceston, so Chambers will have to look on the wing. And that's where he heads. Long and high. Leedham sets himself. Almost tries to take a grab. Bailey gets a hold of it. They just keep it moving in a maul. Sockering was O'Brien. Not quite. Shepherd got involved. Got it to Aganis. Finds a little space. Handball down the line. Rundle trying to work his opponent under it. And it's out of play for yet another throw.
So approaching time on here in the second term. It's all Launceston at the moment. Clarence would love at least one or two before half time. That's without Launceston getting any more. So big few minutes coming up for the Roos as they go forward again. The Blues. Another out of bounds. So still a beautiful day here in Hobart. North Hobart hosting North Launceston across the river as well. And the only other TSL game today, we had Anzac Day, of course, between Glenorchy and the Tigers, where the Magpies were victorious. Roos have it. And now they try and edge it towards their attacking end of the ground. Williamson's there. Oh, Shepherd. He's dived onto by Kieran Hallett. And we'll have the ball up. So 8 scoring shots to 6, so pretty even in that regard, but 22-point lead to the Blues as the Roos go forward again. But intercepted once more. Back down towards their attacking end now. Well done by Smith. No, out of bounds, throw in. Nice crowd in this afternoon. A few parked themselves on the hill on a beautiful sunny day. Launceston has the footy Liberatore, who's been fairly quiet since we called him earlier on in the game. So a cousin of the Liberatore's camp, so he's got the same name as Tony, but a cousin.
Yes, that's right. Spent some time at Werribee, and as we mentioned in the pre-game, came down for work. He's a podiatrist by trade.
There he is again. He's been pinged for holding the footy. Anthony Liberatore. So Jackson O'Brien with the footy for the Roos. Gets it over to Cox. Cox, kick. Found Hallett. He's running. Got away. Just back to Cox. Hallett again. Picks it forward. Cunliffe couldn't get there. And it's punched away out of bounds.
Just difficult for the Roos, isn't it? Just moving forward to get some connections by foot. Trying to get some time and space away there from their opponent so they can just lower their eyes and spot some targets. Launceston have worked pretty well defensively.
So Leedham and Bailey, the main ruck combination this afternoon. Cunliffe sees it out of bounds as well. We've had some stoppages today, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. A big couple of minutes coming up working our way into half-time. Another goal here for Launceston. Just might test the resolve of the Roos.
So Bailey had that all to himself.
He's going to ask to be
come
thrown
back.
in again.
No, I think...
No, I wasn't happy with the throw-in, boys.
Yeah, okay.
A recall.
Recall.
That's
What they do call it. Cameron, indeed. It wasn't the best. It was all in favour of Bailey, that's for sure. That one's a little bit better. Two rucks go at it. Paul Freeman's there. Handball's away. Ball's still alive. And now here's Clarence being able to turn over the footy. All done by them now. They've got a little bit of space here. It's Castle. Kicks it forward. Running over, it was over the head of Webberley. Webberley has the foot. He's got no one to go to, though. Bouncing ball. And now the Blues do well. Here's Hines. Handball's over the top. He finds Blackberry. Huge handball from Hines. Blackberry gets boot to ball. But it's intercepted now by Clarence through Gall. Oh, nicely done, Hines. Gets boot to ball again. But now the Roos have it. And it's Harper. Kicked a goal earlier on today. Drives it inside 50 again. They'd love a goal here, but that's straight down the throat of Savage.
Just not working for them up forward. That's going to be a 50-metre penalty.
Looks like it is too. So Savage will get the 50. You're right, Brownie. They just can't quite get it to click, can they?
All over the place, really. Got no one to kick to, and then a lot of the times they've gone to kick and all their forward players have been on the same side of the 50. Just can't get the spread and space.
Savage. He switches play to the opposite side of the ground. Running onto it, Shepherd. Handball's over to Paul Freeman. It's a little further ahead of what he would have liked, but he picks it up in the end. Does a little dance around. Gets it backwards to Shepherd. Shepherd goes further afield. Finds Leadham.
That's a 50-metre penalty.
52, yeah. So this will bring... Well, it'll certainly bring Hamish Leadham into range after what we saw earlier in the quarter.
His range is 100 metres.
That was extraordinary, that bomb. That'll be on all the TSL social media outlets this week. That big kick from Hamish Leadham to get the opening goal of the second term. It was extraordinary.
A short 50, boys?
It was pretty short. Oh, yeah. So Hamish Leadham lining up. This will really put a dagger through the heart of Clarence. The big ruckman comes in and splits the middle.
Nope.
No, he doesn't on this occasion. So a big let off there for the Roos. That would have really...
Yeah, that would have got the margin almost out to 5 goals.
That would have stung big time.
So Bailey goes long from the kick out. A good kick, almost to his brother. Cunliffe reads it really well. On a burst, finds Webberley. Webberley, if he can get it inside 50, he's got Cox. Good pressure from the Blues, and they should be able to mop up. Riley takes the grab. Right through the corridor, spots Taylor. He's eager to get going. Oh, he's pressured as he kicks, but he should have still spotted Gillo, who gets the crumb, whacks it on the boot, on the outside. Another for the Blues.
I think that at this, I know it's only early stages, but to me that just illustrates a difference at the moment between the two sides. Riley with an intercept mark was able to spot up someone in the middle of the ground. I think it might have been Taylor, and then Gillo with just some smart ball use there, and was able to kick a really good goal. They just look cleaner. They just look more efficient by foot, whether or not that's in the back half or entering the forward 50. And the Roos just can't find a target at the moment inside 50. And it's fairly labour-intensive for them at the moment trying to score, where Launceston certainly looked dangerous by foot.
So can't be too long left in this second term, as the Roos need to peg one back here. They really do. And they might have an opportunity here. The coach takes the mark. Webberley drives it inside 50, and he's got his man, and it's Jake Cox.
Well, he's just able to find some space, but it was a terrific kick from the coach.
Really nice, wasn't it? Spot him up beautifully. You'll go back now and try and reduce this deficit to 23 points. Must kick it.
Well, it's an important kick for them. He's kicked a goal in every game this year. Cox kicked 3 in the first 2 games, 1 last week.
Star of the comp, Jake Cox. In he wanders. And that is a much-needed goal for Clarence right on the eve of half-time. It keeps them in touch.
Well, they rely pretty heavily on him, don't they? We We know he's one of the premier players of the competition, very damaging. He can break the lines, can find the footy and can be damaging by foot, but also when he goes forward, he's a difficult matchup, and he was just able to find some separation on his opponent, but he was aided by a beautiful kick from his coach. And there's some quality down there, isn't there, boys, when you look down at the Clarence forward line at the moment with Webberley and Cox, both down there, so they're trying to manufacture something. Wall's also been one of their leading goal kickers this year, so they've got some personnel down there.
Yeah. Not a great bounce.
Not the best bounce at all, but it works out okay for the Roos. Yet again, the siren beats them. No mark. Richmond took it right on the paint of 50, but the siren beats them for the second consecutive quarter from potentially getting a goal. They've got a bit of work to do, Clarence. Launceston 8-2-50, lead the Roos 4-3-27. A really good second stanza from the Blues, Cam Brown.
Absolutely, Gilly. It was 5 goals to 2 in that quarter. And the Roos 2 goals came from inside 50 entries. We saw one where Harper was able to get a run and carry after a good centre bounce clearance from Sharman, and then the last one just recently there from the coach to Cox. But apart from that, they haven't really looked like doing anything up forward with any system. The chemistry is just lacking a little bit there in terms of, I guess, the midfield and some of their delivery inside that forward 50. So they'll get an opportunity to regroup. On the other hand, Launceston, I thought they were really efficient in that quarter. 5 goals. They've had 5 goals for the quarter, 8 for the match, but 7 individual goal kickers, which makes it difficult for Clarence from a defensive point of view, because different players are bobbing up for goals in the quarter. What a highlight it was too. Hamish Luedem,
a monster.
A terrific. Yeah, it was a monster goal, all right. And then Thorpe managed to get on the scoreboard for them. We saw a smart finish from Gillow. Casey Brown also got on the scoreboard. So they'd be pretty comfortable, I would have thought, heading in at half-time with a 23-point lead. And you just feel in the first 10 minutes of the next quarter, it's going to be fairly telling. If Clarence will need to stick fat and really work hard and try and get some reward for some of their efforts on the scoreboard early in the third quarter. Otherwise, potentially Launceston may flex their muscles and run away with this game.
Couldn't agree more. You spoke to a few things there that I think Launceston were really good in terms of their cleanliness with the ball. They were really clean and they were efficient when they got it inside 50, and 5 goals in that term, and all without Thorpe having a massive influence. I think he's actually been pretty well held by Bailey, largely, only the 1 goal. But it's the others around him, and it's his ability to bring it to ground and make some opportunities for his smalls. So a really good quarter. Sam Lonergan, I think, would be very happy with how things are ticking for Launceston. Clarence with a bit of work to do. They just look lost for options and lost for ideas when moving the ball forward inside 50, and they'll need to maybe make some changes there in the sheds at half-time.
In fairness to the Roos, they do have a lot of players just making their way in the game. I would have thought at TSL level, you know, when you look down at some of the names, Howlett's only played a handful of games, Hanslow's another one, Richmond probably hasn't been able to get into the game as much as you would have liked. I just wonder whether or not it's worth them pushing Richmond forward and deep forward and seeing if you can catch them off guard one out, because we know he's so very dangerous in the air. So Seymour's another one that hasn't played a lot of senior footy, Jackman. So probably a little bit undermanned in terms of the experience department. And Launceston, some of the players that they've been able to bring into the organisation, you talk about Riley and Thorpe, and we've liked the work of, probably hasn't had a heap of the footy Ruston, but some of his defensive efforts, and when he's got it, he's looked really dangerous. They've been able to bring him in. Breno, you mentioned Liberatore, he did probably go out of the game after a pretty promising start, but they've probably been able to bring some real experience into that lineup, which augurs well for them, I think, for the rest of this year, Launceston.
That's it, and they're hard and they're big bodies too, and that's a big difference. I've really liked the games of Paul Freeman and Rundle inside, and they've dearly missed Jones in that department, Clarence.
No doubt, and I think, what are we on rotation? I think it's Breno's votes today.
Yes.
But, I think you're spot on, Damo. I love the work of, I just sort of racked him up, Pofferman, and he just hits the stoppages, reads it really well off the hands, but then when he exits with some real speed and purpose. But I think Lederman's also been terrific in the ruck. He's hit out. It's a little bit like Brady Grundy, the way he's got the ability to get his hands on the footy and push forward, and he's quite comfortable kicking the footy. getting at ground level. So they're certainly dominating around the midfield. And as we mentioned, they've got so many left footers, and they seem to have a lot more time and space with the footy. Blackberry is very damaged by foot. I think Dunellen's done some nice things. Tyrrell's an underrated player. Hines probably hasn't racked them up in terms of the standard that we're used to seeing him in terms of his possessions, but certainly telling when he does get it by foot, and they've probably still got some upside. Rulla Kelly Mansell's been fairly quiet, and as you mentioned too, Damo Mitch Thorpe's been pretty well held in what's been a really good battle with Bailey.
Yeah, so a fascinating first half here at Blunston Arena. 8-2-50 Launceston lead the Clarence Roos 4-3-27. We'll have a brief break now for half-time and be back with a very big second half in TSL Round 5 action. We are. So back for the second half. The first half was dominated by Launceston. So plenty for the Roos to do in this third term. Brent Costello been a bit flat in that first half, so we're just going to ask a bit more from you in the commentary box. Lift, mate. Just like the Roos, we need a lift from you.
Are we live? Oh, I'm sure we're not live.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Damo. Cheers.
Give you a rev up, mate. Just a bit croaky, a bit flat.
No, not at all. Up
He
and
was
about.
thrown from the media space last night. Media award. The Brent Costello Award, I think it's known.
Is that right?
Not at all. Not at all.
Back to the contest.
Yes.
Just for your sake, Breno. 23 points the lead. I think you said it before we had a brief break there, Brownie, that the first 10 minutes of this term is going to be absolutely crucial in deciding this contest.
Yeah, and look, it'd be interesting. And we're not to know what both coaches said at half-time, but you would think we certainly felt from our position, boys, that the efficiency by foot was one of the differences between the two teams. And Clarence just a little bit rushed going forward, unable to find some real continuity and connection with some of their inside 50s, apart from a couple in that second quarter. Launceston, certainly some of their work out of the stoppages was terrific, in particular the work of Leadham in the ruck and be able to just lay it down to people like Palfreman and Rundle, who both had big quarters. Throwing Blackberry as well is so damaging by foot, and they just look more dangerous going forward. And we mentioned 7 different goal kickers so far for them, so they're just not relying on one key forward. Interesting to see if Clarence have a little bit of a different look about him in the third quarter. They did try Williamson there in the second quarter, didn't really come off for them. So it will be interesting to see how they go about it starting this third quarter. But they probably need the first, certainly the first goal in the third quarter, probably the next 2, just to get their energy levels up, boys, into this game. Dangerous, though, if Launceston are able to have some ascendancy on the scoreboard early in this third quarter. Will probably test the resolve of a pretty young and inexperienced Clarence team without some key personnel today.
Interesting. Tim Castle starting forward for the Roos. Not something we've seen a lot of.
Nope.
Well, we thought they might do something different. Jake Cox has gone to the full forward, so I thought Casey Brown would be the match-up. I think he is going down there again. We called that.
So whether they've got someone they're eyeing off Castle down there, we'll wait and see. Leadham been superb so far. His hit out goes to Harper of the opposition. Cunliffe keen to get going. He's mowed down by Riley. Dunellen in a rush. It's been called back.
Probably a bit lucky there because Dunellen opted to take the advantage.
It's a funny one when they choose to give advantage and when they don't, I reckon, Brownie. As Riley picks out a target he likes and hits it. And it's Kelly Mansell. Been subdued in this contest.
It's kicked 6 goals so far this year, including 3 in the round 1 loss to North Launceston. And we know they can push him forward. It's fairly explosive on the lead. And normally a pretty neat finisher. Not the start Clarence would be looking for, Gilly, if he does kick a major here.
The worst possible start if Kelly Mansell can send it through the sticks. An electrifying player when he's on. That is a wobbly old thing. Headed toward the square. Jackman picks up, finds Holmes. He falls for Dunellen, tries to scrap out a kick. Chambers out the back. Can he get the Roos out of trouble? A powering long bomb. Leadham sees it over and out for a throw. So
Funny old kick that, wasn't it, from
It
Ralla?
was. He just got too close to the man of the mark, I think. Just didn't have any real momentum in his run-up.
it was a funny kick. The ball comes in, the sun, distant memory here at Launceston Arena. Bit of a chill in the air. The ball's at ground level and start for grabs. Harper tries to fend off one. He's caught by Riley and holding the footy.
Well, they've come out with some real pressure on the ball carrier at the moment. Launceston early doors, third quarter.
Riley to Thorpe, a combination we're used to. Not quite for Thorpe. Ground level, Bailey clattering after it. Be a ball up.
This is the bit that's really impressed me from Launceston. When they have entered the forward 50 and they haven't been able to take a mark, some of their abilities to lock and defensively make it very difficult for Clarence to get it out of there, and whether or not that be through tackling, smothering, whatever it is, creating another stoppage to start again. They've made it really difficult for the Roos and predominantly getting the game played in their forward half.
So Bailey to the boundary and another throw. Deep in attack for Launceston. Danger signs for the Roos. Harper picks up the ball. Gets a handball out. Punched on well by Chambers. Cunliffe, no time to get the footy to the boot. Leadham, interesting kick inside 50. Bouncing for Gillow almost. Fisted down, Liberatore. Now Smith drops it off. It'll come back to the middle off Blackberry. A minor score. So Bailey to bring it in. Bailey long and direct. Looking for Dickinson. Vandervelde, a timely fist, picked up by Williamson. And then to Seymour, he saw something he liked. It was Sharman and then Holmes. Williamson. Long is Cox. That's where he heads. Cox, one bite, not quite the second. Aganis tackled. Brown wears a bump. And handball's out of play. Good intensity to start the third term here.
Good effort. Sorry, Damo. Good effort from Casey Brown to jump up and put a good defensive spoil on Jake Cox.
So the ball to come in. Rundle and Palfrey being so influential from these stoppages. Leadham just over the back. Aganis now gets a little space. Took a little too much time. A good tackle from Castle. Maybe that's why he was swung forward. Gets it on the boot. Looking in the Cox or Webberley direction. Webberley almost. Out the back, he's got Seymour if they can find him. Cunliffe does. Seymour hugs the boundary. A little too tight, says the boundary umpire. Will be thrown in. So the Roos now in the right area of the ground for them. They're 4 goals adrift in this contest. They need one soon if they're going to get back into it. Ball comes in. Leadham been terrific. Paddles this one down. Running through was the young man Hanslow. He's wrapped up from 2 directions. There will be another ball up. It's been a stoppage-heavy game. It's been where Launceston have had the ascendancy. Leadham again. Palms down. Rundle. That Leadham-Rundle combo working well. He's wrapped up immediately. And we'll have yet another stoppage.
So interesting, Brownie. Damo's called for me to lift with 5 minutes into the third quarter. I've not spoken once this quarter. He's done the whole lot.
Some of your best work, Brent.
5 minutes he's gone for the great man.
Sometimes when you've got passengers, you just leave them be.
5 minutes.
Ball comes to ground. Wrapped up in a tackle. And there we go, another stoppage. You can have this one, Brent. I'm sick of calling the same thing over and over here.
Has to be some sort of record. 5 minutes 23 of Damien Gill right there. A big tackle there from Paul Freeman. And it looks like the free kick will be paid. And a bit of argy-bargy to go with it.
You don't want to give away a 50 here if you're Launceston.
Oh, here we go. Play on. It's looking okay. 2 off the boot, but punched through. So, nice effort. But unfortunately for Harper.
Just quickly, just check the stream. A big spike in that 5 minutes.
So the Blues bring it out of defence. Pack forms. Leadham was lurking at the back. The Blues are away now, though. Bit of time and space here to work with. Rundle gets a handball off. Rushton has a bounce. He's got an open field ahead of him. He gets the kick inside to Thorpe. And Thorpe doesn't take the mark. Blues still have the footy. Big tackle, though. And a ball up will take place.
Saw a little bit of confidence there from Casey Brown. You won't see too many people kicking out from full-back, willing to back themselves in and take on Jake Cox, but he did. And it was a really good kick-out.
Bailey wins on that occasion. A free kick paid here to Thorpe by the look of it. So something out of the ruck contest there. So Mitch Thorpe will get the free kick from about 30 metres out and 45-degree angle. We're right behind this one in the commentary box. Thoughts on Thorpe's game this afternoon, Brownie?
Oh, he's probably struggled to have the impact that he would have liked in terms of offensively and what he's been able to impact on the scoreboard. But he kicked a really smart goal in the second quarter. But I think in terms of bringing the ball to ground and giving the opportunities for some of those Launceston players that are so impressive when the ball hits at ground level, he certainly played a role though.
This for a 29-point lead for Launceston. Mitch Thorpe makes no mistake, and this lead is now a huge one for the Blues.
And having said that, that's his second goal. If he ends up with 3 or 4, he's certainly done his job against a quality opponent in Bailey. But that was just a free kick out of the ruck, and Thorpe's always been a very good set shot for goal, boys. And just the start there that Launceston were looking for. Look, a pretty impressive unit at the moment for mine. Launceston, first time we've called them on the stream, boys, but really enjoying what they're bringing to the table today.
We'll delve into it a little bit later on where they fit for you, but they've been impressive. Lead them. Bailey just falls into the arms of Bailey in the end. He finds Webley and now Ling. Ling out for Silva. Silva, outstretched arms, takes the grab. A lot ahead of him. He drops it off. It's coming back in from Ling. A couple of juggles. Might be a free kick. It is. So it'll come long and strong and deep, and that's where Jake Cox lies. Out the back, he might just get it. Not quite. Hand it out. Danellen to Kelly Mansell. Clever tap over the top. Shepherd. And now Gillow. They're away at the races here, Launceston. If he can find Taylor. Taylor and O'Brien. This will be a good contest. Taylor picks up the footy. O'Brien swings him in a tackle. Rushton. Out the back is Thorpe. Bailey best position. Thorpe deals with him. Wanders on in and pops through his third. Launceston are on the march.
Gee, that was an impressive build-up. I love their brand and style of footy. A little bit going on off the ball here.
A lot going on, actually. And looks like James Holmes and Blackberry, and now Thorpe is in there as well. A couple of little spot fires breaking out here. So Lonnie well on top now. So at 35 points. So the game slowly slipping away from the Roos. 10 minutes into this third quarter.
Good bit of play by Tyrrell, a good contest there with O'Brien, and a smart kick by Ruston. Just tried to put it to the advantage of Thorpe and was able to keep his balance. Nice finish. That's his third.
Nice win there from Bailey, but it went straight to Launceston out of the ruck contest. And now Sammy Rundle, what's he going to do now? He goes inside 50 to the Thorpe direction again. Big punch from behind. O'Brien's there for the Roos. Went straight over the foot. He was dealt with, though, and he'll get the free kick. Jacko O'Brien, who is the captain today, in place of Brady Jones, who's out injured. O'Brien goes backwards, and they're now in the last line of defence, the Roos. Oh, it's a terrible kick. A turnover here for Launceston. Really clever stuff from Kelly Mansell. And that's out of bounds on the full. So he did well to get the footy, but unfortunately just didn't quite work out for him in the end.
Yeah, it was just the execution. It was a smart bit of play. He knew he was going to be tackled, so he just had the presence of mind to handle in the space and give himself a little bit of time, but not the finish he was looking for. Dangerous signs here, Damo, I would think, for the Roos.
And it comes over the top of Seymour's head, and a turnover again, but a boundary throw-in.
We've mentioned ad nauseum today the work in the stoppage from players like Polferman and Rundle, but when you look at them, boys, they're strongly built in the core, aren't they, in through the hips there. They're not easy players to tackle from an opposition point of view. They've just got power through their legs, and a real key feature of their game today. Leadham
and Wall. Here's Rushton. He's been fantastic. Rundle, he's had plenty of the footy this afternoon. Thorpe, a 2-on-1 contest. Kelly Mansell's there. Can he get the crumb? He can't. Ling does well. And now they're away through Gall. And now some time and space here for Howlett. Kicks it to the wing. Who's on offer? No one. It goes out of bounds.
Good spoil by Hines.
So 10-3-63 plays 4-4-28.
I think the concern, boys, I think it was 2 goals each at one point, was it not? So Launceston have kicked 8 out of the last 10 goals.
Yeah, good stat, Brownie, that's for sure. Very good point. Roos tackled hard again, and the ball's going nowhere. Another ball up.
They've been all over it, Brownie. Well, they're a lot still to come. A lot of growth in some of their players too.
So ball trying to be worked out. It is eventually. And right in the paint of 50. But Holmes is there for the Roos. Kicks it forward to Webberley. More Richmond player, of course. Oh, dear, oh, dear. A little bit of a stumble there.
Fresh air, was it?
From Howlett. And we'll have another boundary throw in. A little fresh air. I think it might have been Brownie. Went for the kick and just didn't come off for him. So sun certainly gone here. Cooling off at Bell Reef. Still perfect conditions though. Not much wind out there for the players to have to contend with. Shepherd. Paul Freeman wrapped up and he's pinged for holding the footy. So Clarence will get an opportunity here through Castle. Pushes it wide. Webberley's there. Takes the easy mark. You just slow things up now. The coach assess his options. Decides to go with Howlett.
The reason why it's a slow build-up, Launceston have got numbers behind the ball.
Howlett's kick wasn't his best. And now Lonnie collect through Boyce. He throws it on the boot. And good mark taken. So the Blues are away here. Kelly Mansell's all on his lonesome out here on the wing in front of us. But Hines has the footy. Still plenty of options. Here's Rushton. He eventually uses Kelly Mansell. And Roller plays on fairly quickly inside the centre of the ground to Paul Freeman. What a year he had last year in the TSL. Star player. He hits up Shepherd. Kelly Mansell's on his own again. And that's who Shepherd decides to use.
Yeah, slow build up here, Breno, because Holmes is loose in defence.
Kelly Mansell hits it up 4. That's a terrible kick. It's out of bounds on the full.
I reckon we're up to about 8.
It's been a few, hasn't there? That's for sure. So Billy Sharman now brings it back in. And gobbled up by O'Brien. Paul Freeman chases him down hard. O'Brien just got the kick away. And now here's a chance for Clarence. Howlett has a bounce on 50. Loads up. And Cox is there. Spots him up well. Cleverly done by Jake Cox, who goes around and kicks a goal for the Roos.
I missed the kick. It was an O'Brien's kick out wide. That was a terrific attacking kick. Just opened up the side of the ground and for Howlett there. And a smart kick, and Cox was able to run onto the open goal there. Nice little side step and kicks, I think, his second, boys, for the Roos.
Yep. Those
Comes
highlights,
their first multiple goal kicker.
Those highlights, unfortunately, just been few and far between for the Roos, but that was one of their brighter spots of play.
Well, it was. It just opened up the whole side of the ground. It was a really good attacking kick from O'Brien.
O'Brien now seems to be running to the change rooms just quietly. As Leedham wins a hit out down to Rundle. We've called that a lot today. He drops it off for Tyrrell, and now Riley. Riley, as Blackberry short, uses him. Blackberry, that laser-like left, looking for Thorpe, fisted away. Still there for Lonnie. Taylor picks up the crumb, fumbles in Shepherd's direction, whacks it on the boot. And Rushton watches it over. Holmes wastes no time. Short to Sharman.
Oh.
Sharman has his ball smothered. Smith now from the pocket. Shoves aside Holmes, but he comes back and wraps him in a great tackle.
That is a wonderful tackle, boys.
He's just great without the footy, Holmes. Really good player on the pressure side of the game. So he's got the ball here. Unsure what to do with it. In the end, he drops it off for Jackman with a little handball. He goes to Gall. Gall through hands to Bailey. Bailey over the top to Williamson. And that was not the best bit of ball movement you'll see.
Well, he's called out in the full, has he?
Yeah, I thought
He
it was.
handballed it,
I
didn't
thought
he?
it came off his boot.
Off
The
Williamson's
Launceston
boot.
player doesn't realise he's got it.
Yeah. Just a little toe poke, almost.
I reckon he's unlucky there. So it's Taylor's ball. Brendan Taylor, handy player.
He doesn't want to go long, boys, because Wade Wall's back.
So he just pops it up and Riley flies and
Oh, sorry, it was
Bailey.
gobbled up
Bailey
by
on that
Bailey.
occasion.
So played right into the hands of Clarence there. Over the top to Sharman. Being one of Clarence's better players. Can't take the grab on this occasion. Wrapped up in a Rushton tackle. Be thrown in. Rushton, not too many touches, but just really good defensively. And when he's had it, he's made sound decisions.
Yeah, he's probably going to end up with 9 or 10 tackles the way he's going. And that's the modern game, isn't it, in terms of that forward half pressure and trying to get repeat entries.
So Spon paddles down, almost for Harper. Coming through was Liberatore. He's wrapped up.
And those small forwards are definitely in vogue, aren't they? You see it at AFL level.
Hottest property, aren't they, really?
No doubt.
Small forwards and sharp users off half-back. Up it goes, Spon. Walt drops down. Rundle just paddles towards Taylor's advantage. Paul Freeman on it on the boot. Smith arrives, gets it out. Liberatore's kept that alive. Umpire disagrees, but geez, I reckon he did. Offline anyway.
I agree. I'd like to have another look at it. As I say, he's a lot closer than we are, Domo. But
so it's an even 30 points. Clarence a long way out of this contest. Got to make the jump pretty quick, the Roos. The ball be brought in yet again. It's been a high stoppage game. Spon and Wall. Spon just down, looking for Cunliffe. Not quite. Out the back was Rundle. Just pokes it out, looking for Riley's lead. He arrives but can't take the grab. They'll get it out through Gall here, Clarence. A long powering kick should favour Castle. He takes the kick and he's off. Castle looking for Webberley. Inside for Webberley. It's a good kick and well taken.
A great kick, wasn't it?
The coach, nothing deep, so he just decides to look at goal and have a shot. Unfortunately, he's offline.
So Lonnie to bring it back in. They're in cruise control at the moment, the Blues. Very nice lead of 29 points. So bring it out of defence. Paul Freeman went over his head and Wall doesn't keep it in for Clarence and a boundary throw-in. Sun is making another appearance here at beautiful Bell Reef. So looking forward to next week's clash too, fellas, on the stream. Clarence Glenorchy, it'll be a beauty to see who is the best team in the South at the moment. At this stage, you have to say it's Glenorchy, given their current record. But she said to Jez Webberley in the presser the other day, he thought that the Clarence boys might be the best team in the South. We'll see next week. It'll be a cracker on the stream.
Jack Donnellan has impressed me today, boys. We mentioned him in the build-up as a player who's pushed up into the midfield. He's had some horrific injuries over his career, particularly when he was in his Mariners year. But his progression in the midfield this season has been really good for Launceston.
Umpire says holding the man there, so free kick going the way of the Roos. And it's Sharman with the footy. He handballs. Oh, it's not great at all. And luckily, Wade Wall's there. Can he pick it up, though, the big man? He's spilled the ground. Players dive onto it. And another ball up.
The issue there with the handball, the boys that he was looking to give it off to were both standing still, Wall and Harper, so it was always going to be ambitious.
Up we go again. No one really took advantage of that. Harper, Cunliffe, Castle, and now Roller Kelly Mansell tucks the footy under his arm, has a bounce, has a second bounce, has a third bounce.
Blackberry's on.
Kicks it inside 50, Jay Blackberry.
Riley.
Yes.
Riley, mate.
Oh, it's Riley. I was going off Brownie there. So it is Dylan Riley that's taken the mark inside 50. And will kick directly in front to really almost put the final nail in the coffin here with still a quarter to go.
It's just a super kick.
It was a really good kick.
Good play in general, really, wasn't it, from Kelly Mansell?
So, and he's worked his way into the game.
So Dylan Riley, we know he crossed from Devonport in the off-season and has missed. So a costly one there. That really could have hurt and really almost put this game beyond doubt because, as you said, Brownie, both teams had 2 goals apiece at one stage. Clarence only with the 5 now for the game, Monty on 10. So they've been few and far between for the Roos as it comes back in. Dangerous kick. Rushton's there. Ball to ground and a ball up. So
It was a slow kick in the air from Williamson, just gave Launceston an opportunity to get a hand in there. And this is what they've been so good at today, just creating a stoppage in their inside 50.
Up it goes. Dangerous territory here for the Roos. Holmes taken high, was he? Yes, he was. So free kick to the youngster. He goes backwards to Ling. Puts it to the wing. Ling to the wing. And now Hines.
In the back.
Little tunnel. Hall Freeman, who's been fantastic. Sharman, also been good for the Roos. Here's Seymour. He's dragged down without the footy, and that's holding the ball. So the free kick will go to Lonnie. It's coming back. So a chance to Roos to get numbers back here.
Yeah, you're right. The loose man is Aidan Jackman at the moment, just sitting in the space of Mitch Thorpe. So I'll have to lower their eyes a little bit on this entry.
And it comes again, another inside 50. Great mark taken there by Riley. He turns around, looks at Thorpe and takes the mark. So
that was a beautiful inside 50 kick. And we mentioned there, Clarence had numbers back. So really good presentation from Riley. And then to wheel on his play. You mentioned in the call, boys, these two boys, Riley and Thorpe, have played a lot of footy together and just kicked it to the fat side. And great presentation from Thorpe as he lines up for his third for the quarter.
And fourth for the game. Mitch Thorpe makes no mistake, and the Launceston Blues are almost home and hosed here at Blunston Arena.
Well, it's a good lesson, isn't it? Because we mentioned Mitch Thorpe probably wasn't going all his way in the first half. Did kick the one goal, but certainly worked hard at bringing the ball to ground. But in this quarter, he's certainly been able to get some separation on his opponent, and 4 goals in 3 quarters of footy is certainly a terrific return for the key forward today. Gets the margin out to 6 goals now, game high.
Interesting that he was caught on Williamson there, because Bailey's at the other end of the ground. Rushton right out of the middle, rapid stuff, puts this one out in front of Thorpe, and he takes the grab.
Fantastic.
They might want to rethink this move, I think, Clarence. The game could be beyond them. No, it's throwing caution to the wind, but Bailey was doing a pretty good job on Thorpe.
Terrific from Rushton. We haven't seen him a lot in the middle. He's played predominantly inside forward 50 today. He's that high half forward who is so good at ground level.
So Thorpe lining up for goal number 5. 40-odd. Mitch Thorpe out to the right a little, and the kick out to the left. Leaves it short, and it's a good grab. No, says the umpire. Riley thought he took it. Umpire disagreed. It'll be a ball up.
There must have been some other hands there.
Riley filthy. Probably every reason to be. Looked a grab to the naked eye. Bailey just swats it. Jackman keeps it in. Eventually runs out of tarmac. So 5-5 plays 11-5 here in the dying embers of the third term. Clarence, well, the game seems beyond them now.
Keep your eye on Rushton here, boys.
So the ball comes down. O'Brien this time pounces on it. But they're set up behind the ball well here, Launceston. Boyce has a Garnis in the middle. Cox will do his best to chase it down. Just keeps the Garnis honest. A crowd of 50 presenting ahead of him. Pops it up and looks for Thorpe. Arriving was Bailey. Bailey takes a grab. Pokes it nicely and finds his coach in Webberley. Webberley down the line for Richmond. Been pretty subdued. Young Richmond just pokes looking for Seymour. Good body work from Seymour, but couldn't complete the grab. Rundle takes it. Now with Rushton. Couldn't gather. Seymour looks to pounce. Now Cox runs onto it. Shakes off the tackle, but loses his footing. They keep it in there, though, through Dickinson and then Hanslow. The ball will be thrown in again. Around the arc. Attacking end of the ground for Clarence. fortunately for the red and white faithful, hasn't spent too much time there this quarter. Tossed in. Bailey puts it down. Brown arrives. He's wrapped up and swung in a tackle. A good tackle from Dickinson. Ball up again.
I don't think it'd be a real long quarter either, boys. Just the 4 goals scored in this quarter.
Leadham drops it down. Good work from Rushton. Gathers the footy. Coming through was Hanslow. Picked up by Donnellan. He wears the tackle. A high one from Cunliffe.
Rugby league style.
Well done, Donnellan.
Donnellan looks inside. Sun maybe
kick
in the eyes of Blackberry, but he picks him out to perfection.
Oh.
Puts this one out in front of Riley. Got an absolute acre to work with. Gets it moving immediately. Hines to the paint of 50. Looks long to Smith. Bounces beyond him and through for a minor score.
Margin now is 37 as we approach 3/4 time. Sun causing a bit of havoc out there now. It's very bright. As the Roos try and get it towards their attacking end, but Hines intercepts. Boyce taken high. No, umpire let it go. Goes to ground. Can't get it out. Another ball up.
He's got some strong bodies, haven't they, Launceston, around the contest. And
Yep.
we know Clarence have certainly introduced some youth into their team this year, but normally when you do that, you've got underdeveloped bodies, which makes it a little bit more difficult.
Lead them, but the Roos get the footy. Webberley. Now Rundle. Oh, smacked onto the turf. And there's the 3/4 time siren. And it's Launceston's game to lose from here. 11-6-72 to 5-5-35. A dominant quarter from the Blues, led by their star forward Mitch Thorpcamp.
Yeah, spot on, Brent. 3 goals in that quarter for Launceston and 3 goals to the experienced campaigner. And Mitch Thorpe had a terrific quarter and could certainly get on the end of them and finish off what would be a really productive second half for him and his team. 37 points, as you mentioned, the margin. Just the 1 goal there for the Roos, Jake Cox, and that's been the story for them today. Just haven't been able to generate some real quality inside that forward 50, and targets have been few and far between today, particularly marks inside forward 50. I love the way Launceston have set up defensively. They seem a very well drilled and organised outfit. Our first look at them for 2018, and as we mentioned, they've got some real depth in the midfield. They've got some real strong bodies in there, which enables them to exit some stoppages with some real speed, but also to put some defensive pressure on. And I love the way they've locked the ball inside their forward half today. We've mentioned that a few times. Tough ask now for the Roos. We know they're a developing team. 37 points down at 3/4 time is going to be difficult for them. And I guess they'd be looking to try and stick fat and try and win the quarter. They have tried to do a few different things. Castle was thrown forward, as you called Gilly, early on in that quarter, and he actually made a bit of an impact there and certainly distributed the ball well on a couple of occasions. And maybe you look at someone like James Holmes, maybe push him further up the ground, just to see what you might get in the last quarter. It's going to be difficult for Clarence to win this game, but you just might find something else a little bit about him. We're so used to seeing him play off half-back and deep in defence, and he's a brilliant player in terms of the role that he plays, but maybe push him a little bit higher up the ground, just see something a little bit different from him in this last quarter.
I think Brent Costello could probably give his votes now. I reckon this one's over. Launceston, second and third quarters superb. Their ball use just a class above the Roos at this stage, and when the Roos have had the ball, they've been under fierce pressure from Launceston. I've been just really impressed from the stoppage work of Launceston, their work around the ball, led by Leadham in the ruck, and then Paul Freeman and Rundle has been tremendous.
And what they've done quite extensively throughout this game is lower their eyes, and that was going to be potentially a concern for me coming in, because we know that different players, particularly Holmes, likes to drop off his man and be that third man up. But certainly in their inside 50 entries, they haven't wasted them. Some of their attacking kicks through the corridor, they've been really efficient. And they've looked pretty productive all day. They've really impressed me. Still a quarter to go as we see Brendan Taylor coming off, which looks like a bit of a leg injury, so they'll be potentially one down in their rotations as James Holmes is getting a little bit of work done at the moment from the trainers. Looks like his back potentially, is it, or a leg injury down there. But look, it's an opportunity now for the Roos to see where they are in terms of this last quarter, because a young team lacking some key experience, in particular Stanton. They've missed Nield, I think, today. Some of his experience been in pretty good form for them, and we know the capabilities of Jones. But I'll just find out a little bit where they're at, and they wouldn't want to go into next week's game against arch rival Glenorchy, losing the quarter by 4 or 5 goals and potentially denting their confidence. So still plenty to play for the Roos in Launceston. They'll be going for their, what this will be, Gilly, their 3rd win on the trot here.
Yeah, I think Clarence is still learning a little bit about their lineup, aren't they? Cunliffe, Seymour, a lot of these blokes near the club, Sharman. They've still got Keegan Wally to come back into that defensive setup too, and he was really important for them last year. So
he was terrific, Wally, wasn't he? We really enjoyed his work last year. One of the more improved players in the competition. So you're right. He's probably a bit of a forgotten man in terms of their setup, Clarence. So they'll certainly be thrilled to get him back into the lineup.
Sam Lonergan would just be wrapped with the way his team's going, and we've talked about it all afternoon. There's still upside to be had with this group of players. Still more players to come in, with namely himself, Sam Lonergan, to pull on the boots and play a few games. We saw him play forward in the final series. I reckon that's probably maybe where he'll put himself when he does get back in the picture, and also Joby Harper to come in. So they're firing along very, very well. We know they had a hiccup to start the season against North Launceston, but we might get into it a little bit later. But I don't know, watching them today, I think, once they get really firing, they could well be the team to beat this year.
And they'll also get some real quality at under-18 level Mariners when they come back in 3 or 4 weeks' time. Potentially some of the boys will be playing in the Allies squad, but certainly the last 6 or 7 games of the season, they'll only be strengthened by some really smart junior players as well. So he'll have a few headaches, Sam Lonergan, in terms of trying to fit a depth of squad that probably runs into 30, 32 players into 22. But that's what you need, don't you? Because you can't foresee what might happen in terms of players being injured, and you definitely need a squad, and that's certainly looking like that for Launceston at the moment. Been really impressed with them. As we mentioned, it'll be a real test for the Roos in this last quarter. Probably Sam Lonergan is actually enjoying the fact of just coaching from the sidelines, albeit he'd probably love to be out there, but gets an opportunity to look at it without the involvement from a playing sense over the last couple of weeks. Can really have a good look at his team and seeing where the strengths are, where the structure is, how the game plan is being implemented, and provide some real instruction to his team. And he's holding them here for a while too, Breno, at 3/4 time.
Yes, indeed. Now, Gilly, not the only game here this afternoon, the Launceston Clarence match. You've got a score update for us from North Hobart Oval.
2020, 140 plays 2-4-16.
Okay, and the first 2 goals as well for North Hobart in that game.
The next 20, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. We know they're a rebuilding team. It's wonder how many Tom Couch has to his name.
Well, I think we saw him kick 6 or 7, didn't we, last year?
Yeah,
might have been in that corresponding game, was it not?
It was indeed.
It was a clinical performance, and most of those were out of the midfield. But they've had some real difficulties in this situation today in these the stoppages, centre bounces. Launceston had just been able to exit, and it's on the back of Leadham in the ruck. When you look at the real quality in there at the moment, Rundle, Polferman, Denellen looks like he's in there as well, and he's been pretty serviceable for the first 3 quarters as well. So
agreed. I'd like the stats. We unfortunately don't have the benefit of them, but I reckon clearances would be favouring the Blues dramatically.
They've just got some big bodies in there too, which makes it really difficult for Clarence.
So Bailey and Leadham. Up it goes. This one favours Bailey. Shepherd from the wing picks it up. And it'll be rinse and repeat, just about where it started, in the bullseye. Up it goes again. Paddle down. Lovely from Leadham. It's a block ball from Poultryman, but it will make its way to half forward. Smith just doing his best to keep it there. Good pressure. Your ball up between the square and the arc.
I'd be happy to play all their away games at Launceston.
They play it well.
Boys.
They might not be too happy with the fact that UTAS is now available for the grand final. Cox slaps it on the boot. Favours Dickinson. Got separation on his opponent. Savage over the top. He's got Bailey. Bailey should take the grab. Savage does well to make sure he has to take a set shot.
Hasn't had the game he would have liked, Dickinson, but what he does, he's a really smart user of the footy, and he showed his skill on his non-preferred side there. Bailey thrown forward. I like this. I think you've got to spin the magnets if you're Webberley here just to see if you can get some flexibility, learn a little bit more about your team.
So Bailey.
Great finish.
That is a very nice finish. Pops it through, and the first of the final term goes the way of the Clarence Rouge.
Yeah, well, that's an ideal start for them, isn't it? So cuts the margin to 31 points. On balance, you'd think that would be a little bit beyond them. But Jason Bailey pushing forward. You've seen Castle go there on occasion. So I like that from Clarence, just to add a little bit of versatility to their lineup.
So we go again in the middle. Launceston the dive onto the footy. O'Brien, though, gets it out. Sharman puts it up high, right to the paint of 50. No one could take the mark. Garnis. Whose footy is it going to be? Garnis gets it back to Nellen. Leadham. Intercepted, though, by Cunliffe. He throws a high ball in the air as well. Plenty of time for players to get under the footy. Kelly Mansell tried to get the handball away. Now Shepherd inside the centre square. Good mark, Paul Freeman. What an afternoon he's had.
Yeah, it's on the day out.
Certainly is. He goes wide to the wing. And now, chance for the Blues to run onto it. And it's trickled out as it is, out of bounds. Boundary throwing.
Underrated player, Vanderbilt, isn't he, boys? He doesn't get beat too often. Just one of those players you'd think your teammates would love playing with. The coaches would love him. Just very disciplined. Plays within his limitations, but terrific one-on-one player.
Bailey and Leadham. Rundle gets boot to ball inside 50 for the Blues. Kelly Mansell's there. Holmes picked up the footy. Chambers. All players dive on it. And again, another ball up. How many for the afternoon, do you reckon, Cam?
We've had a few. As we mentioned, we don't get the stats, but plenty. Right from the word go, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Here's Chambers. Kicks it along. And now the Roos are away.
Brown.
Wow. Oh, another tackle too. Now the Roos have the footy. Chambers kicks it inside 50. Running's Bailey. Can he get the footy? He does. Can he twist and turn? He turns Savage inside out. Gets it to the top of the square. Dickinson takes the mark. Very nice. So this will make it. It was a great fend-off.
It was. And a good disciplined kick to the top of the goal square. Gave Dickinson the opportunity. And he didn't let him down. We mentioned he's had a reasonably quiet game today, though, boys. But he's going to line up here for his second.
And this to make it a 25-point margin if successful. And it's hit the woodwork. It's hit the woodwork. So a very, very disappointing kick.
I had it down, boys. I marked it down.
What was he? 15 out, if that?
No more.
No more. Yeah, disappointing.
That's a shocker.
So the Blues bring it back in. Big let off there. They're in control, though, the boys from the north. Here's Chambers again. Goes backwards to Sharman, who's crunched. It gets out in the hands of Hines. Paul Freeman tried to get it back to Hines. Chance for the Roos again, though. Ling got boot to ball. Paul Freeman. Ball to ground.
Clever.
Hines. And now the Blues get it out to a lot of space. Running onto the footy is Smith. And he picks it up. Handball's off.
work.
Lead him.
Oh,
He's so big. He's athletic, isn't he? And he kicks a shocker.
Wasn't his best.
Out of bounds on the full.
Just the work rate from him.
Yeah.
He just took off, didn't he? As I said, he's really comfortable.
So Clarence has it. Williamson doesn't mark it. Does okay though in the end. Cox, will he get there? He's beaten to it by Howlett. Handball over the top. And now here we go again. Castle. He's got someone on. And it's Dickinson again. Goes on the left. Centres the footy and nice mark. So the Roos will go back now and have another shot directly in front. And the margin's 30, so this will cut it to 24 if converted successfully by Cunliffe.
Smart kick, wasn't it, from Dickinson? And we liked his game last week in terms of got some real quality out of his possessions, whether or not that be on the scoreboard or with some goal assists. And you just saw he's a smart user of the footy.
The better looking team at the start of this fourth term, the Roos. Cunliffe throws it on the boots and it's missed.
Gee, they would have loved one of those to go through, Cunliffe and Dickinson. Would have been a little bit quieter. Cunliffe, he was terrific in round one against Lauderdale.
Yeah, he had a sharp start, but he's gone in and out of the game. I agree, Brownie. As Hines brings it out from full back. A long booming boot. Jake Cox flies, so does Spon. Rushton at the full, just hands it over. Liberatore picks it up, whacks it on the boot. Riley has the 50 to himself if he can turn and burn. He waits for the cavalry to arrive. Puts it into the middle, a great kick, and picks out Smith. Who from 40 will go back and line up for his second.
Well, this is an important kick for Smith. He found his way out of the team last year, boys, which you probably wouldn't have predicted in thinking that maybe he was in the Launceston's best 22, but fought his way back at the start of this season. A new role. We're used to seeing him predominantly off half-back.
Jake Smith, about 45, he'll kick this one.
Oh, got too close to the
man
on the mark.
Got too close to the man on the mark and didn't get the right accuracy out to the right. All this without Sonny Whiting as well, who was not picked this week in the lineup. So there's going to be a squeeze on for positions in this team as Webley looks to kick out from full back. Just works. It's on from Howlett. He picks up Chambers. Chambers keen to get going. Dickinson come into the game late.
This is probably the best period of the match for Clarence this start of this last quarter. They just look they're freed up a little bit with their ball movement.
Playing a bit braver, long and strong, and they're hitting targets. This one, unfortunately, doesn't hit its target, but Riley doesn't take the grab, and it skittles out.
Yeah, I think the coaches involved with Clarence at the moment, both Weberly and the bench and assistant coaches, would be really happy with the start of this last quarter from the Roos. They could have been a little bit closer with a couple of near misses.
So the ball back in, one down by Wall, just slapped away by Savage. Howlett in all sorts of pressure. Vandervelde looks to feed out. It runs over. Out for yet another stoppage.
Damo, players in yellow armbands today.
Yeah, road safety week next week. Partnership with RACTI. Of course, road safety very important. So just a bit of a nod to that. Bernard, as the ball comes in. Down from Leadham. Cunliffe looks to run onto it. Picked up by Blackberry. He finds Dunellen. Runs out of tarmac. And runs out of time. Jake Cox ball. Good tackle from the superstar. That's a good kick. Picks up Dickinson. Can't complete the grab. Picked up by Blackberry. Does well. Hines so casual. Feeds out. Can't find Dunellen. Cunliffe runs that one over. Thrown in yet again. An even 30-point margin here at Launceston Arena. The game beyond Clarence, but by far their brightest patch of the game to start this fourth term rather. As the ball comes in, Leadham and Bailey wrestle. Coming through was Taylor, who's back out there, and he swung in a tackle that might not help him. Picked up by Cox. He jinxed one way, jinxed another way. Looks down the line for Dickinson, and it runs out of play.
He's stiff there, Howlett. He slung his man around in a full 360-degree tackle, and the ball spilt free, and definitely should have had a free kick for holding the ball.
So 30-point buffer here. 6-7 plays 11-7. Here it comes again. Bailey taps it down. Denellen caught with a footy, and another ball up. So the sting taken out of this game, unfortunately. 10 minutes into the final term. But as has been mentioned, Clarence certainly have lifted a gear, which is good to see, and finish off the game strongly ahead of next week's big game against Glenorchy. What's the positives out of today for the Roos, Brownie?
Oh, I think that certainly their response at the start of this last quarter, it certainly would have been easy potentially for them to drop their heads a little bit. I think their effort's still been there. They just lacked a little bit of polish and class on a few occasions.
Almost like last week in some respects, isn't it?
Well, they get an audit of where they're at, to me, Clarence, in terms of they're playing North Launceston, and you're throwing Glenorchy.
Yep.
And you know, two of the three best teams in the competition you would think they've played in the last fortnight. So they'll know.
Chambers to the top of the square, but gobbled up by Dylan Riley.
It's been pretty good too, Riley, boys.
He has had a lot of the footy. Should we see if he features in your votes, Cam, at the end of the game?
Mate, you
a hand pass. I'd be taking these ones on. They're the easiest votes you'll see.
I feel like a few people are going to be unlucky to miss out, though. Trying to squeeze all these blokes in. I know there's been some standouts,
That's why you mention them and give your apologies, Breno.
Okay, good.
Just make sure you give that, what is it, 2-voter. You missed out last time, wasn't it?
I'll do it properly today as it comes back in. Lead him in front. Tapped away by Savage. Hines again. Oh, tunnel almost there was Dickinson. So getting a little dark here now at Launceston Arena. Lights not on as yet. Again, the LED lighting, though, is quite bright these days, isn't it, around the ground? Something we often haven't had in the past. Here's a chance for Cunliffe on the run. And a nice goal.
Nice finish.
That's a real nice finish. Troy Cunliffe. Into the Clarence team this year, of course, and has shown some really nice things over the first part of the season, and that was just one of them.
Yeah, really smart finish. And we know he is a goal kicker, and that's his first for today. As you mentioned, Damo started the game pretty well and had some quiet periods, but has bobbed up in this last quarter. And it's been a really good response from the Roos to kick the first 2 goals of this last quarter. Plenty to like about the way they've gone about this last 14 or 15 minutes.
Back in the middle. Ball and lead him down. Looking for Rundle. Denellen sniffing around it as well. Harper wraps him up. Another stoppage. So 4 goals
It's
at the
actually
moment.
4 goals, so another one here. And
What are you saying, Brownie?
Oh, I'm just saying if they got the next goal, Clarence, certainly the spirit and energy levels would be up and about, and there'd still be plenty of time for them.
Kicking themselves that they didn't finish off one of those easier opportunities just before.
Absolutely.
Lead him, slaps it on the boot. There for Spon, and now Rushton off the left boot. Looking in the Kelly Mansell direction. He's in a foot race with Jackman. First to it. Can't pick up the footy. Thorpe can't either, but Kelly Mansell extracts it somehow. Drops it off for Spon. He drops it. He goes back. And there's a whistle here. It's going to be a free kick. It's going to go to Denellen, I think. Yep, that's where it's headed. Denellen came clattering in, copped it high.
Well, it came about because Spon just had a fumble there and spilt free.
Put a bit of heat on Denellen.
It's played pretty well too, Denellen. We've mentioned him throughout the call.
Just a nice little cameo, really.
It was terrific against the win against North Hobart.
So Denellen, player of his quality, should finish this one off. And he does, and he's happy about it. That's a steady up.
So is the crowd. Quite vocal here, the Blues fans.
The Blues fans, good travelling support. That just gets the margin back out to 5 goals.
Yeah, just to to keep the Roos at bay there. So really nice finish. Just perhaps an over-exuberant tackle there from the Clarence player. And Denellon was able to finish. And as we mentioned, added a different dimension to his game this year by pushing forward in the midfield. I know Dave Moore, who does a lot of work on our TSL stream, Damo, was talking to me today about some of his performances this year and thought he'd really matured.
You talking about Dave in the commentary box? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, good. As we go again. And now Clarence bursting out of the middle here. I'd love a quick reply just to stay in touch. Dickinson inside 50. Someone's down and they're not getting up very quickly either. One of these Clarence players, they're flattened. So the umpire hasn't stopped the game yet. No, me either.
Is that Williamson?
Can't quite make out who it is at the moment.
Bailey.
Might be...
It's not young Harry Richmond, is it?
No, it's Ryan Bailey, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Damo. Anyway, play's going on. So, dribble out of bounds. And...
Seems to have recovered pretty quickly.
I'm pretty sure it is Bailey. He wasn't getting up very quickly there, though. Anyway, he seems fine, which is good news. Ball on the wing. Far wing here from our commentary position. Here's Seymour. He tried to get away and does just. Almost got pinged for holding the footy. Did well. And now Smith over the top. Inside 50. Bouncing ball. Roos get it back. Webberley. Holmes. Good mark.
It's 50.
Good mark, yeah. Straight into his back. No, the umpire says no.
Wasn't the right option there from Smith, who chose to handle. He had Thorpe working for him there.
Harper into the middle of the ground, but collected by Hines.
Good call from the umpire here. Kelly Mansell came in.
Okay.
Blocked off Howlett and never really went for the ball.
Righto. So Howlett will have the kick right in the middle of Launceston Arena. Up towards 50. Oh, mark was paid, yes.
Had to be a free kick.
Yep.
So good last quarter, Dickinson.
He has.
He's
He's lifted,
a bit of
hasn't he?
space across half forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to have to be careful here because Hines is loose in defence.
Ashton Dickinson with the footy. Had an option there. I think it was Ryan Bailey on the lead. Didn't opt to use him. Instead goes to the one-on-one contest between Hines and Sharman, but the ball trickles out for a boundary throw.
We didn't have much to go to. Dylan Riley was another one who just pushed back into that defensive hole.
Yeah, he had Bailey on the lead. He was pretty filthy. He didn't use him. So we await the ball in. Just around from Clarence's goal. Spon taps it down. And again, we go over for a boundary throw-in. So even 30-point margin. 12-7 plays 7-7 as we approach time on in this final term. Really dark here now. Probably can't notice it on the screen. And just a quick update from North Hobart Oval. It's getting real ugly. North Launceston 27-21, 183 to the Demons 2-5-17.
A free kick against Rushton for a high tackle. So another opportunity here for the Roos to close the margin to 4 goals. Harper, who's had a pretty quiet day.
So Harper will kick probably 35 metres out. Garnis on the mark. Harper comes in and looks pretty good. Umpire didn't have to move too far to say that's a goal. And the lead cut back to 4 goals now. So just about to hit time on.
Well, that's his second. He's a pretty good finisher, Jared Harper, and can play multiple roles for the Roos. He's had to today. Spent some time in the midfield.
So what's that at North Hobart? 164-point margin, am I right by saying?
Chance to get to 200.
Or a bit more.
Yeah, not pretty is what it is. So ball back in the middle. Another goal. Be handy for the Roos. If they can just finish even a bit closer, they'll take plenty out of this. Lead them, paddles down. Clarence get it back though through Bailey. Throws on the boot. Castle should be at the fall of it. Blues come from either way. Scrapping at it is Blackberry underneath all that. He'll jump on top and force a stoppage.
Very good player, Tim Castle, hasn't he, for a number of years now for Clarence. Very reliable. I've liked the fact that they've pushed him forward. We mentioned we haven't seen that a real lot throughout his career, but he's been okay.
Bailey with a hit out, but Shepherd with the clearance. Finds Thorpe, who'll just cool the Jets. He's got Gillow on the break if he wants to use him. Opts to find Boyce. A bouncing ball. Boyce will get it on the hop. Looked at jig round Seymour. Can't quite. Goes back for Blackberry. That lethal left. A good punch down. And O'Brien should see it through, or it's not his best handball at all. And they pounce through Gillow. He puts it through. A sharp finish from the youngster.
It's on again.
And a rare error from O'Brien.
Well, he had some games last year, Gillow, where he kicked multiple goals. And that's just an instinctive snap and from a player who's pretty comfortable in the forward 50 and knows that craft pretty well, and really neat snap. They've done that on a few occasions today. Breno, Launceston, some of their kicks across the body, just gets the margin out to 5 goals.
They just won't let them cut it back any further, really. They just find the answer when needed, the Blues.
They have indeed. So 5 or 6 minutes left here probably in this one. Bounce will favour Hamish Leadham in a big way as Rundle's thrown into the turf. Umpire will ball it up. So AFL this afternoon, Geelong 69, the Swans 86, that's full time.
Jeez, they must have had a
big comeback.
Second half, the Swans.
Well, the Swans led early, Geelong came back, and then Swannies have hit the front again. So without Buddy Franklin and Dan Hanbury, that's a big win for them. They've got a pretty good record down at Geelong, haven't they?
They do.
Back here at Bell Reef. Ball to the paint of 50. Ball on the ground. It's held up. Good win to your doggies last night, Cam.
Terrific win, Brent.
Big game in
Badly
Launceston.
needed one.
Yeah, absolutely. Big game in Launceston tonight too at UTAS Stadium. Hawthorn and St Kilda.
They'll get a big crowd in for that.
They will. Chambers gets it inside 50. And again, we'll have a ball up. Yeah, it's the first ever Saturday night game for points.
Biggest fireworks display at an AFL match as well.
Really?
Pre-game.
Really? And Samantha Jade.
Samantha Jade.
Your girl, Damo, one of your favourites.
That's straight out of your playlist.
Don't mind her, actually.
Jade.
Here's Castle. Well done by Rushton, though. Chambers, and it was touched off the boot. Throw in. It's quite staggering, isn't it, that Hawthorn's been here for what, almost 20 years? 2002 they got here? 15 years anyway.
I tell you what, you know the stings out of the game when we're on this sort of...
Yeah, someone might have to just straighten us up a little bit. 30 points to margin, 24-minute mark of the last quarter.
Just trying to keep the conversation flowing, boys.
It's a TSL stream, Brent.
Record throw-ins and ball-ups today in this game, I would have thought.
Maybe. And I tell you what, the Blues have been fantastic from them. This one comes in. Leadham and Bailey do battle. Bailey with this one, but it's straight down for Savage. Taylor, almost. Boyce at the full. Liberatore to Agarnis. Gets his hand out very quickly. Cunliffe now with a bit of time and space. Just pokes a kick out in front of Dickinson. And he works into that space and takes a good grab. So Dickinson, pretty eager to get the set shot rolling. Kick this one from about 45. Strikes it okay, but he's left it out to the right. Oh, the grab might have been taken there by Bailey. Certainly claimed it. They'll climb on top. There'll be another stoppage.
Breno, you mentioned the positives from the Roos, and that they do have a lot of players that have probably played under 15 or 20 senior games.
Yep.
And for them to get this experience against North Launceston and Launceston in consecutive weeks is really good for their education.
Castle now trying to manufacture something with zero space. They managed to get it out now, Launceston. Gillow on boot. Thorpe in a Clarence sandwich. Out the back was Smith, and he's helped over by Holmes.
That's clever by Thorpe, 3-on-1 on that occasion, so just a defensive punch to get it across the line and start again. Yeah, but players like Dickinson, Hanslow, Harry Richmond, Howlett, Gall, Silver, Seymour, Jackman, they haven't played a lot of senior footy. And as we mentioned, it's really good for their development.
So in it comes again, Wall at the full. He paddles it Clarence's way. Chambers is wrapped up going nowhere. Yet another stoppage. So it's going to be a good win for the Launceston Football Club. 30 points in front. Bit going on behind the plate. Lead them down for Rundle. It's been the combo of the day. Rundle wrapped up. Yet another stoppage. 26 minutes gone. Not too long left in this one at all. Lead them over the back. It's Webberley. Squeezes out a kick looking for Richmond. He runs over it. Vandervelde will deal with him. Drop it off for Blackberry. Whacks it. Looking for Smith. Almost takes a grab at the full was Gall. Good hands looking for Wall. He finds Cunliffe. He gives and goes. Can't do much with the second ball back to him though. Blackberry wrapping up. Bit sloppy here. Hines should see it out. He does, but it's the wrong way for Launceston. Tracking down is Webberley. He just shoved aside at the vital moment. We'll get it back in there, though. No, they won't, says the umpire. That one's out of bounds. So, 30-point win on the cards here for Launceston.
Well, it's looking like Damo Clarence are going to win the quarter. And that's important for them because it doesn't get any easier next week. Well, for them, coming up against Glenorchy, so they're probably playing the three top teams in consecutive weeks.
They certainly are. As the ball back in, he's hit out one by Bailey, comes to Silver. He gets it moving. Bailey arrives, but sitting under it in the hole was Riley. It's a good grab.
Versatile player, Riley, isn't he? He can play midfield, he can roll back, he's creative up forward. And really been one of the more consistent players in the competition over the last 5 or 6 years.
Absolutely.
Boy from Deloraine.
He was a player that missed a state game last year, and I think Tassie missed him dearly on that day. Very, very good footballer. Just on Clarence again, a lot was said about their start last year, as that one's a really good grab by Wall. And he'll kick it inside 50. Dickinson underneath it. Can't quite take it. They'll get it out through Brown. Brown looking for Taylor, who's shoved aside, and Clarence's defence through Gall should deal with this one. They don't. The handball falls to Smith. His tumbling ball should be tracked down by Seymour. Seymour now for Williamson, and now Silver. Silver looks long. Good kick. Very good kick to Richmond. Holds his mark. He looks ahead at the 50 and looks in Bailey's direction. Bailey gets in front position. Swatted away by O'Garnis. Savage with quick hands. Vandervelde and then Rundle. Rundle to Kelly Mansell. Squeezes out a kick down the corridor. Taylor looks to hand off.
Bit on behind play.
Picked up by Silver. Silver to Holmes. Holmes to Jackman. A good kick finds Howlett.
Can't be long left, boys.
Cannot be long left at all.
Less than a minute.
Howlett long. And there we go. Siren sounds on a terrific win for the Launceston Football Club. They came meaning business, and they got the job done by 30 points. 13-7-85 defeats Clarence Roos 8-7-55.
Yeah, a great win. Any win on the road is important for Launceston, and we mentioned in the outset today, both teams went into this game with a win-loss record of 2-1, so that's 3 on the trot now for Launceston. I think they've got the Tigers next week, so another opportunity for them, and they're setting their season up pretty nicely. Nice last quarter there from the Roos, 3 goals to 2, so they'll get a little bit out of that going into what will be a tough assignment for them against Glenorchy. They're probably just a little bit undermanned at the moment. We do know they've got a lot of inexperience in their team and probably some light bodies, but they'll get a really good education over the last fortnight, and they'll be able to go through the tape and look at where they can improve. It would have been easy for them to be blown out in the last quarter, boys, so I was impressed with the way they stuck at it. You spotted something there, Breno?
Yeah, just Bailey with the ice pack on, so hopefully he's all good to go.
Well, that might have been the bit of play in the goal square there where he was on the lead with Vanderbilt, so maybe he's done his calf there, which would be a blow for the Roos because they're a little bit undermanned in the ruck department, particularly when they're forced to play wall forward. But look, I like the performance of Launceston today, Damo. I just thought they were clinical the way they went about it. They play a really good brand of footy. They're dangerous by foot. A lot of left footers, as we mentioned throughout the call, but their decision making by hand and foot was pretty good today. They were terrific in the stoppage situation, led by Leadham, who gave them first use, and they've got some dangerous forwards and different players that can bob up and kick goals, and a really good even contribution from their players today. Led by Mitch Thorpe up forward, who had a really good third quarter to kick 3 goals. He had some good moments. Blackberry was really dangerous early for them. We love the work of Leadham in the ruck, and Riley I thought was a really proficient player for them as well. And just so powerful in the stoppages. Players like Pfeifferman and Rundle. And they'll be pleased because I thought Kelly Mansell started to run into a bit of form. Denellen was strong for them, and they're pretty underrated down back, aren't they? Like their 2 key defenders there are Garnis and Vanderbilt. They don't get beat too often. They spoil very well. They've got good closing speed, and they put pressure on their direct opponent. So overall, a pretty impressive performance from the Blues today.
It was a fantastic performance, no question about it. Clarence have a bit of work to do, but there's a bit of promise in that setup. And as you said, good couple of tests in North Launceston and then Launceston and then Glenorchy. They'll really know where they're at. And last year, they really started the season on fire. And I know Jeremy Webley was looking towards this year and timing it right. So come finals time, they're up and firing. So they won't be too deterred by this loss, and they because that was their best quarter for the day. But Launceston far too good across 4 quarters, and tell you what, Brownie, I look at these votes and go, they're important. Well, they're important because
what's the prize?
A lot of good players.
Who's our sponsor for the votes?
Oh, I thought you were sponsoring it, Brent.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned some of the better players, Brownie, so I won't go over it again, but obviously Jay Blackberry was fantastic early. Thorpe came in and kicked, what did he end up with, 4 goals, I think you said. Denellen was fantastic as well, but my votes today, 3 to Paul Freeman.
You start with the 3.
Actually, Thorpe got 4, didn't he? 3 in the third quarter.
Yeah. Paul Freeman 3, Leadham 2, and Rundle 1.
Don't disagree with the personnel. I probably would add a different order myself. But,
okay, there you go.
And I wouldn't have started with the 3 votes.
We always do something a little bit differently.
One day you'll get it, Brent.
But I think that was quite telling. Your 3 best players too, Breno, are all in the midfield, weren't they? And that's where they were able to assert their authority, just the physicality and the strength in their core bodies, and they were able to win it and give their team first usage. So, look, a really impressive performance. But looking forward to the stream next week. We get to see Glenorchy again, Damo, who are undefeated, and Clarence, who will get another test. And hopefully for them, they'll get a few players back. And increase the productivity of their personnel, which will be a really tough task for them, I would have thought, next week against Glenorchy on their home deck. But as we mentioned, they've got a real audit of where they're at over the last fortnight, the Roos, and they've stuck at it pretty well.
Yeah, they're not too far off, and who knows, next week up against Glenorchy, it's going to be fascinating. Always plenty in that game, bitter rivals. We hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast. It's been a pleasure bringing it to you. Just repeating, Launceston 13-7-85, 30-point victors over Clarence 8-7-55. Bye for now.
Bye.